Pardon me and my tone. You can't step to my throne. They ain't working like me. I did this on my own. You asking where we been, huh? I don't know where to begin, huh? All this dirt on my skin. I just came here to win. I'm more than a man, I'm a monster. Somebody call a pastor, doctor. I got a 6 sense for imposters. So now I'm coming for the whole roster. It's not a game, why you playing with me? You could double back, lose track, try and hang with me. It must be in my veins, something you can't tame, cause I break the game. Can't control me. I got the power, I got the keys, cause I break the chains. They try to hold me, I'ma push back, just wait and you'll see. Please excuse me, your honor, but you can't hold me no longer. Can't you feel the vibrations? I broke out and left traces. Go ahead, try to catch me if you can, man. You'll be looking all night, I'm the Sandman. New York, London to Japan. I'ma show the whole world who I am. Boom, boom, boom. Major look.
Yeah, once again, thanks for tuning in. You're listening to World Combat Sports. Salute and happy Sunday to everyone that's out here getting ready for another work week. Seemed like the weekend flew by pretty fast, huh? But I just want to give a shout out to those who was able to go in and get themselves delivered. Went to church for a little bit, received the word, and then returned back. You know what I'm saying? Wish you and your family the best. Be safe out there. Also, I want to give a shout out to the WCS supporters, man. Salute to those who rock with the channel each and every time I'm on. Appreciate you tuning in, stopping through. If you haven't already did so, hit the notification bell icon so you can know when I'm going live. And also for those who are the normal hitters that show up, hit that like button for me. You know what I'm saying? It's simple. Just basic. Just hit that like button for me. I appreciate it. Share the content if you need be, and donate to the channel if you want to. So let's get right down to the nitty gritty. This is not a full-blown Wilder. I'm gonna get in heavy with it a little bit closer as it gets, but I want to touch on it first. For those of you that already know and may not, October 9th is the PPV, the pay-per-view of Fury Wilder 3. Deontay Wilder, hailing out of Tuscaloosa, Alabama, multi-time WBC world champion, 10 times at that, to Tyson Fury, who was able to win the belt February 22nd, 2020, through extreme, severe controversy. Finally, 21 arrived, and from the pandemic all the way into 2021, there was so much speculation about, will they ever fight for a trilogy? And during this time, there's so many obstacles that was thrown up and dangled in the media. People was unsure that they would ever step in the ring again. A lot of fans was more concerned about when Wilder was going to come out and start speaking. They didn't quite understand for their entitlement as to why he wasn't saying anything. But in the meanwhile, there was a court case that was rumored to be going on during that time. And I'm going to be honest with you, a lot of people just didn't believe it. They didn't believe that a court case was going on. They said, what are you talking about, a court case? This is done. This is over. He lost his title. So be it. There's nothing else for him to fight about. Well, It was a lot for him to fight about. It was a lot for Wilder to fight about because, first of all, he was fighting off those individuals who were naysayers and non-supporters. All right, he was fighting that fight. Having to deal with the amount of attention that he gave his fans before, you know what I'm saying, interviews, pictures, and all that, and going in there with a tough rematch against Tyson Fury, where the champ wasn't 100%. Plus, on top of that, the fans that was there in attendance, some of them chose to boo the American fighter. Now, this man was going in there for his 11th defense, people. His 11th defense. We're talking about a bronze medal Olympian. He split the ropes and answered the bell below 100%. His health wasn't as invigorated that we used to seeing, Deontay Wilder split the ropes. He looked a little dazed and confused, so to speak, before he even got hit. It seemed like he was, somewhat, his body was under the influence of something. It didn't seem like he himself had control of how he felt that night. So we all know the history of it. He still went in there and fought the fight. Even when the fight was stopped in the 7th round, he was asking Kenneth Bayless. He was like, "Hey, why you stop the fight? Don't stop the fight. I want to keep on fighting on." And this is the guy who was taking extensive amount of punishment. He took punishment not because we had the Deontay Wilder that showed up for the first fight. We had a shell of Deontay Wilder that showed up for the rematch. And even in that time, him knowing that he wasn't 150% ready for that fight, he still fought on until the fight was stopped. Now, there's been extreme amount of controversy, and this is not about the controversy. This is absolutely about the return, because a lot of people was talking about the arbitration was rumors, and they found out otherwise. I'm going to go through an article that was put out where Boxing News 24 is still delusional, extremely biased, and continue to be irrational when it comes to reporting on certain fighters they don't favor. One of those fighters is absolutely Deontay Wilder. It's absolutely Deontay Wilder, period. We all heard of the August fight that was supposed to negate anything dealing with a Wilder Fury trilogy. Eddie Hearns put this news up that they had agreed to it. And then he also put up false advertisement that a contract was signed. And ultimately, word has now, came out a good while back that it was just false information. It was just a facade. They was just dangling information up there for our attention. And that's what somebody like me thought anyway. You ain't signed no damn fight. You know damn well that you have people tuned in to this freaking arbitration. The big hitters at the chain of command knew the arbitration was ongoing. It was active. And they chose to play it like they didn't know nothing about it, knowing damn well nothing can move forward in that heavyweight title fight until this arbitration concluded. And when it finally concluded, we all know that Deontay Wilder was ruled in favor of, and Tyson Fury will have to face him in a trilogy. It was just that simple, y'all. When I say simple, I mean for the interpretation, for the clarity. Tyson Fury has to fight Deontay Wilder. Now, we have seen where Tyson Fury aborted mission because supposedly he had a quick whiff of COVID. I think COVID came across Tyson Fury's nose, and he had a quick little whiff of it, and he caught a cold, and then he was good. Okay? Not to mention he was out and about. Once the news broke he had COVID and he was out of the fight, he was still seen other places in public next to people. So he didn't give a fuck. He was out there, not even considering who he would get sick if he indeed had COVID. He didn't care anything about that. Then, push that back, heading into the next date. His daughter's supposedly sick. All right, moving past that brings us to October 9th. Tyson Fury has officially touched down stateside. 3 weeks to go until the final chapter of an epic trilogy is written. Fury Wilder 3, October 9th. So let's go through some things. First, I want to acknowledge the ones in the live chat. What's going on, Adari? Cruiserweight and light heavyweight is the same thing. I don't know what you're talking about. Cruiserweight and light heavyweight is the same thing. What are you talking about, man? Willie Lowe on deck. It's good, Willie. Hey, what's up, my brother? How are you? Call me later. For sure. I'll hit you up, bro. No doubt. So, I don't know what you're talking about. Cruiserweight and light heavyweight is the same thing. I have no idea. King Mitch on deck. What's good with you, Mitch? We're going to get to some snippets that I clipped out for you all so we can read along and get this taken care of. So next, I want to put up one of the snippets that I've taken from Boxing News 24. It said it had to have been difficult for Fury to get himself adequately motivated for this training camp, given that his hoped for August undisputed clash with Anthony Joshua had been taken away from him by the U.S. arbitrator. Anthony Joshua had been taken away from him for the U.S. arbitrator. Are you out your goddamn mind? Nothing was taken away by the arbitrator. How can you take something away that was never there? No one took anything away. If indeed that was able to be something that was confirmed and made official, we wouldn't even be talking about no arbitration. But being that the arbitration was active at the time that this fake news came out, it makes no sense for Boxing News 24 to even report and put this in a recent article that it was taken away. It was never legitimized. It was never authenticated. It was never official. So people be careful about reading these articles where you have certain writers who are extremely biased towards certain fighters, and they insert inconsistencies into their narrative. They push in falsicities, and they want you to believe what is correct. And this right here is absolutely incorrect. Let me go on. So this article was written by William Lloyd of Boxing News 24. He talks about the picture that I just shown you, right, of Tyson Fury. And he says, conditioning-wise, Fury doesn't look as bulked up or as solid physically as he was a year ago for the second fight with Wilder. The year and a half that Fury had outside of the ring has led to considerably muscle atrophy. Muscle atrophy is a loss of something, a loss of muscle. You know what I'm saying? If it's from nerve damage or whatever the case may be. Atrophy can be from many things. Fury is 30 victories, 0 defeats, 1 draw, and 21 by way of knockout. They say he didn't want to fight Wilder. 42 victories, 1 loss, 1 draw, and 41 knockouts again. But he's been ordered by the U.S. arbitrator. And they keep on putting the U.S. arbitrator into this article as if it's something wrong with that. That was a legal, adjudicated matter that Team Wilder, enforced. And it was good that they went up there and put forth the effort to make it happen. Because ultimately, He could have been on the sidelines. What do you always hear them say? Make sure your what is in order. You know what I'm saying? He had his paper in order, man. He had his business in order. So that's why we're going into a trilogy where people are up here thinking it's by force. Yes, it's being enforced by the courts. If not, then we can sit up here and say, well, Wilder didn't do enough in his career. He didn't do enough. He should have absolutely he should have absolutely made sure that he had a trilogy lined up with Fury before he even signed the contract. That's what they would have been saying. If he didn't get this trilogy to step back in the ring and fight for his title, then they would have been blaming, oh, that's because of Shelly Finkel. That's because of dang JD's. That's because of dang Coach Cub. They would have blamed everybody. They would have even blamed Malik Scott. That's because of Malik Scott. They would have blamed everybody on the team, man. That he didn't have his name business in order. They go on to say it's not an ideal situation for Fury because there's very little interest from boxing fans. Listen to me, y'all. It's not an ideal situation for Fury because there's very little interest from boxing fans in the trilogy match. And he feels he's already beaten Wilder twice. So I want to ask this. Do he feel he already beaten Wilder twice? Or is this the writer who feels that Fury is beating Wilder twice? Fury 32 must stay motivated and make sure that he wins again in flying colors to face Anthony Joshua for the undisputed heavyweight championship in early 22. This writer is obviously, he's rooting. He is attempting to advocate an undisputed heavyweight championship fight between two people who has two other opponents that they have to worry about. You know what I'm saying? Tyson Fury has Deontay Wilder to worry about. Anthony Joshua has Alexander Usyk. This guy is just disappointed right now. He's unhappy, and he's basically mad at the fact that things didn't play out the way he wanted them to play out. He goes on to say, the big danger for Tyson Fury is he takes his eye off the ball, said trainer Shane McGowan to BT Sports. He's frustrated. He wanted the AJ fight, and it didn't come about. What does that got to do with anything? What does that have to do with anything, man? Of course you want the AJ fight if they was going to pay you supposedly $80 million, of course. But the legality of it is that we must salute Deontay Wilder for having his business in order and being patient enough, projecting what his business should be moving forward. His business was a rematch clause. His business was during the pandemic. They say that the time, the calendar expired, and it was no longer a fight. Didn't you hear Bob Arum say that? It was no longer a fight. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It was a pandemic and the time expired. We're moving on. We're making Fury Joshua. Deontay Wilder, he has to go fight somebody else. It didn't work out that way. And I hope boxing fans learned not to sit up here and listen, regardless of the voice you hear, not to just take it for thought as if everything is true without doing your own research. We found out that wasn't unnecessarily true when it came down to it. The pandemic didn't automatically exclude anything. Contractually, there was an obligation in there. That was an addendum. And within that, Deontay Wilder knew that he was warranted a trilogy match. And that's where we at right now. They go on to say now he's boxing a guy, Deontay Wilder, that everyone feels he beat twice. When people use everyone, I think it's one of the most abused words in the English language. And look, make no mistake about it. The English language is one of the most shredded, fragmented, languages that you will ever hear, because there's so many ways to abuse it, and it becomes a type of distorted interpretation when people sit up here and say words like everyone. You're not speaking for everyone. You're saying everyone to basically win over the viewers who are reading your article, to sway them in some way, shape, or form. It goes on to say the last time it was convincingly, and the first time was a very controversial decision, and he doesn't get up for it. He takes him lightly, takes his eye off the ball. And as Frank says, one punch in the heavyweight division, particularly with Deontay Wilder, can completely change a fight. Now, what I have up here is what they said, dealing with Deontay Wilder. They said he's always trying to headhunt with Tyson Fury. If I were working, I would try and shoot right hands to the body and try and drop shots in. But I think the size, stature, confidence, and mental toughness is what's going to prevail, and also ability. Tyson can box and move and adapt. So let's do a little bit of analytics. We truly understand that both of these fighters have been in there with each other twice already. All right. Therefore, we understand the results of both fights. The second one was much more of an intense fight between these two than the first. You know what I'm saying? The rematch was that type of fight. There's been videos put out once the arbitration was concluded. Once everybody stopped their freaking whining, I want to talk to him. I want to talk to him. So he comes out and tell you little bits and pieces right here, this and that and the other. Okay, we get it. But what we appreciate is that the fact that news had broke that Malik Scott was going to be the head trainer from now on. So videos start to surface with Malik Scott and Deontay Wilder putting out these little snippets of training. Right? So once again, I don't know why Boxing News 24 is mentioning about somebody who's a headhunter. Because if you looked at the training videos, they are absolutely confident in the changes that they're making. Wilder's looking different. He's moving different. He's doubling up. His punch output is not just in volume, but his punch placement with that output is definitely going to the body. So they're switching up angles and they're pretty much understanding what changes they need to make heading into this trilogy. And this is multiple training camps already. There's several videos is out. And this training has been going on prior to both of those abort missions that Fury was a part of. They have since been in the gym ever since. So if you look at the video on Deontay Wilder's foot movement, his punch placement, the way he's how he looks motivated, you know what I'm saying? They look happy, with the training that's going on between the two. I think for a fact, Deontay Wilder's confidence have never wavered. He has a stature too. He's always in physically, his aesthetic is always on point with his weight and everything. He doesn't balloon up in weight. It's rumor mill out there that he might come in here 240. I think the most important part of it is that he come in here healthy, and he come here without any type of contamination to his body that will cause him to perform below a level for which we used to seeing him perform in his previous fights. Mental toughness. They speak of mental toughness, right? Okay. So you're trying to tell me mental toughness, if you go into the heat of battle, right, in defense of your world title, in the hardest hitting division in boxing, and you're not 100%, it takes mental toughness for you to go in there and continue to fight and not just tell your trainer, hey, I'll live to fight another day, man. I just don't want to get hurt. I'm just not feeling it down. I need to go, man. We can do this another time, but I'm feeling weak. I'm feeling sluggish. My legs ain't there, man. It's just a lot going on. Bruce goes on deck. What's good? Let me get to some of these comments, man. I heard somebody say Wilder and Fury never outsold any of Canelo fights. Shit, funny, because Canelo been fighting on the zone. They don't even report numbers. Bruce said, peace, brother, at World Combat Sports. Appreciate you, Bruce, for pulling up. King Mitch, appreciate Willie Lowe, all y'all pulling up. So just briefly touch on that. Man, the numbers are never going to be something that you hold with authenticity. We already know the zone lie a lot about their numbers. We're talking about a place where the PPVs are like 20-some plus dollars, right? Come on, man. We know they bloviate the numbers all the time. Eddie Hearns is the one that's saying, hey, we'll pay him the most. The most might have been $2 million, right? And Eddie Hearns will come up there and say we paid him the most that he ever made in his career. So the question is asked, what did you pay him? We paid him $2,000,001. You know what I'm saying? That's Eddie Hearns. That's how he would talk to you. $2,000,001. That's more than he ever made in his career. Back to what I was saying about mental toughness. I know for a fact that it takes mental toughness for Wilder to walk in there and get this shit done. Knowing that his body is feeling funny. You know what I'm saying? Something isn't right. Contaminant will always affect your bloodstream. It will always affect your body the most. It's been in boxing for quite some time where fighters' water has been contaminated and they felt sluggish and everything. I mean, just think about putting a muscle relaxer in water. Thinking about all the other substances that you can place in water and give to a fighter that makes them seem slow and lethargic. This writer can say what he wants about Prevail and also his ability. Both fighters have the ability to go in there and box. Tyson still remains undefeated. Deontay Wilder has one controversial loss on his record. Both of these fighters can go in there and finish a trilogy, for which is something that we rarely see this time and day from two top heavyweights. We rarely see them stepping in the ring for a trilogy. We get to see them put this to bed for a trilogy. No more, no less. Go in there and handle business. But the one thing I totally understand and I hope is that boxing, which has been out of pocket lately with the cheating scandals, the corruption. I said this for Deontay Wilder's rematch with Fury. I said it's going to take everything to be perfect for him to walk up out of there with that belt. And it was far from that. It was far from perfect. It was too much going on for that fight to change hands and attempt to make a Fury Joshua fight so a lot of people can get paid. Now, I hear and I read these articles come out, oh, well, the WBC is attempting to investigate Wilder to ban him. What can you ban him for? Speaking about something that he believed? You can't ban him for that. Oh, you'll turn around and say, well, the language leads to defamation. Well, in order for you to disprove what he's saying, you would have had to make an attempt to prove what he's saying. You know what I'm saying? To disapprove it, you will have to prove it. Somehow, some way, you have to basically begin the proceedings for an investigation, which we all know we're unable to find any type of water. We're not going to be, we know where the gloves are at. So in order for you to disapprove and denounce, you will have to do some type of investigation and come up with some evidence to prove either one, Tyson Fury did in fact cheat, and it basically coincides with what Deontay Wilder's been talking about, or you try your best to do an investigation to discount what Wilder has been speaking about all this time. There's so many videos out there. There's so many live streams on this. If the WBC really wanted to waste their time and investigate just to ban Deontay Wilder, good luck with that. Anyway, moving on. This is from the same article, right? Andre on deck. What's good? Hey, if you got a wrench, man, and you think somebody in here trolling, please do work. It's all good. I go on to read this, the third clip. I do think he's always got that one punch that you've got to be aware of, said McGinn about Deontay. It will be difficult, if not impossible, for Wilder to come into the October 9th fight with the self-belief that he can win. With the way Fury beat him last year, Wilder's dignity has been shredded completely. So when I try to write articles, I've been itching to, just get my fingers back to working. You know what I'm saying? But I really don't want to put the message out there to the point where it's just dripping with venom. You know what I'm saying? It's just very sour because of what I'm reading from these people who supposed to have a team of writers. And instead of them having editors, they allow these individuals the open-ended authority to write these articles, sometimes don't even freaking check them for errors, and just be extremely biased for attention. They want people, and I do it all the time. I read their articles and I put them on blast a little bit. And I say, hey, they just out here writing shit for their own personal benefit. He said, it would be difficult, if not impossible. Who are you to think or try to persuade the general public that something is impossible? You're speculating. For Wilder to come in the October 9th fight, now he's saying it would be difficult, if not impossible. So with all the videos is out there with him and Malik training on his property, and not too recently, they showed a picture of Deontay Wilder and Robert Helenius, the same Helenius that upset Andy Konoski. Before that, way back when, you had Dan Pugmire up here saying he was mentally, depressed. And then you have this guy saying, with the self-belief that he can win. His dignity has been shredded completely. That's just like abusing the word every. When you put completely and every together, you're basically trying to zip it up like it's a permanent consummation, an end to everything. How can dignity be shredded completely? Where's the medical findings? Where's the documentation from the psychologist or the doctor that said that this man during the pandemic, in the process of pushing for arbitration, where was his dignity? Where's his self-confidence? Where was all that? How did it play a role in everything that you're talking about in this article? It's bogus. Your shit is bogus, man. Your shit is bogus. Hey, appreciate that, Mitch. Wrenches got a wrench for a reason. I'm not petty with it, but y'all can time these cats out. I'm not going to waste my time on them. You know what I'm saying? Because if I put the link down there, you know what I'm saying, they're not gonna hop on here and do anything except try to hop on and say something stupid and then get up out of there. But just in case you choose to, there go the link right there for those of you that every time I put a Wilder topic up, you get flustered. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep it moving now. So pretty much, we just seen the picture with Deontay Wilder and Robert Helenius was great. Man, we got two heavyweights getting that work in, man. It would have been great to be able to see Deontay Wilder spar again. You know, at this point in life, man, it would be good to see all the big names and also those who are coming up in the sport, you know, put that work in. But, you know, get in where you fit in. This article goes on to say, the decision by the arbitrator that Fury must fight Wilder again effectively removed. See how biased these people are? They still trying to push as if it was any truth to it. You know what I'm saying? The decision by the arbitrator that Fury must fight Wilder again effectively removed his $80 million payday that he would have gotten against Joshua. Fury still made good money against Wilder on October 9th, but nowhere near what he would have received in a fight with Joshua in Saudi Arabia. These writers, you know, this guy, William Lloyd of Boxing News 24, man, he is one biased pen bandit, you know. Go on to say, so that's the big gamble for Tyson. Another gamble for Deontay Wilder is he's going in there after an absolute beating, and he's going in there with his confidence right down. This is grown men now. This is people who write articles about boxing. And this is what they say. So that's the big gamble for Tyson. Another gamble for Deontay Wilder is he's going in there after an absolute beating. Who's gambling? Who said Deontay Wilder was gambling? It was contractually there for him to go to arbitration to enforce it when other people believe, well, other people was trying to say that it expired because of COVID. It wasn't no gamble. And he's going in there with his confidence right down. Whatever the freak that mean. He spent his whole life knocking guys out. Hey, shout out to Deion Washington. Deion did say Deontay used to slap motherfuckers on the playground. He spent his whole life knocking guys out. And his last two fights against Fury have been a mauling. In the first one, he got outboxed. So, you know, just look at it this way. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes with this guy is pressing keys and characters and all that. But his thought process is freaking extreme, man. The article goes on to say, so he's going in with the lack of confidence, but we'll see what kind of character he has. Now, right there, I don't know what the guy mean about character, because to me in the rematch, Deontay Wilder showed he had a deep amount of character that deals with heart. You know what I'm saying? That deals with that warrior spirit, because the man wasn't right once he stepped in the ring, but yet he went 7 rounds and endured the punishment in between time from the opening bell to the final bell. So what character are you speaking about? Goes on to say, I don't think we can win the third fight. I don't think he can win. I don't think he can win the third fight. But he would give a better count of himself than he did in the second. They're talking about Wilder, of course. I think he'll probably be sharper with his legs, throwing more punches early and trying to maintain a bit of distance. He always trying to hit right hands to the head. Once again, language. This is a bit rudimentary for someone who's writing on a platform such as this. He's always trying to hit right hands to the head. Oh my God, you just gotta laugh sometimes with these cats be writing this shit. Anyway, it goes on to say, with more bias, He's always trying to headhunt with Tyson Fury. If I were working, I would try and shoot right hands to the body. But I think the size, stature, and confidence and mental toughness is what's going to prevail. Like I put up there earlier, right? I don't think Deontay Wilder can. I do think it's going to be a more competitive fight. And I do think he's always got that one punch that you've got to be aware of, said McGinn. It would be difficult, just like I put up here, if not impossible. And hearing this, that's the end of it. But hearing this, people, I don't want you to take any of that for food for thought, as if it's validity. You know what I'm saying? If it's something that's nutritional value for you to digest at your age. I'm talking about grown adults. That is absolutely spoiled appetizers to feed the fans, to get you sick of Deontay Wilder stepping into this fight with Tyson Fury for a third time. That's all that is. It's just spoiled food. They're sitting out here feeding to the damn readers, and they want you to get sick of one fighter in this entire article, and that's Deontay Wilder, period. Mitch said, watch these suckers blame Plant and PBC for these low PPV numbers. Like Plant isn't Canelo's best opponent in the past couple of years. Like Plant doesn't own the last piece to the undisputed. Michael Johnson boxing and talking more on deck. What's good with you? Salute, my brother. What's up? That fight has so much intrigue in it. How can a fan of boxing not be drooling for this? Anything can happen, and questions will be answered. See the back end of that? Questions will be answered. That's all I'm saying, man. The questions, whether it be positivity, or the doubters. You know what I'm saying? The box will be checked. If there's questions, they have to be answered in a trilogy. The only thing about boxing fans, we have to sit on the outside looking in, and hopefully there's not another debacle. You know what I'm saying? An impulsive showing of boxing corruption once again. We don't want to see this shit, man. We don't want to see this no more. We want something that's legit, something that's true, and something we can say that was fair. We don't want to see no corruption type shit. We don't want to see no Maestre and Fox, you know. Hey, what's going on, Mike? How you feeling, bro?
What up, Scotty?
What's good with you, bro? How you doing this Sunday, man?
Oh man, can't complain. Shoot, you know, not too bad of a weekend, and hopefully next weekend goes better. You know what I'm saying? Then right around the corner, man, we got that big fight coming up, man. It's getting closer and closer.
What you went out? What'd you say?
No, I'm saying the big fight getting closer and closer.
Oh yeah, the big fight getting closer and closer, man. It's real big, you know. It's one of the biggest fights in boxing, like it was the first two times Tyson Fury pulled out.
Yeah, them clowns. You know, people can keep saying like, "Oh, it's not. Nobody wants to see it." No, it's you. You don't want to see it.
Exactly.
Because you know we can go to Google Trends right now, and we can type in Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury, and Anthony Joshua versus Usyk, and we can see the traction. Mm-hmm. So. You know, we can see that even if it's not the fight that, you know, that everybody wants to see and stuff like that, this is the fight that everybody's going to talk about. This is the fight that everybody's going to talk about more than any fight that happened this year. And that's just what it is. You can't, the amount of time and effort that people have put into this fight from, you know, damn near, you know, from the end of, you know, 2020 until now, the amount of traction that people have been, the amount of effort on social media and the media standpoint as well that people have been giving to this. Come on, man. You can't say this ain't the biggest fight. You had a whole bunch of people lying about AJ versus Tyson Fury, and people having the, you know, a lot of people out there believing that, but now it's back where we started. Wilder versus Fury, and can't nobody do nothing about it. And everybody out there that's saying that they don't want to see this fight in the third, they gonna watch. Best believe.
Best believe. You know what I'm saying? They gonna watch, dog.
They ain't got no choice. Like who in their right mind gonna call themselves a boxing head and be like, oh, well, you know, he already won twice and this and the third, I'm not gonna watch it. You don't. It's like, you know, in this fight you can't blink because you might miss something. This ain't like Anthony Joshua and Usyk. I don't care if these two guys fought 10 times. You're still going to watch. Now, you might not want to pay the pay-per-view price and all that stuff, but needless to say, you're still going to watch. Whether or not it's on a stream or wherever the case may be, you're going to watch the fight, then you're going to hop on YouTube, and you're going to give your opinion or your live.
Absolutely, man. I totally agree. And it's not about headphones. It's all about the last man standing to earn that WBC crown. That's what that is. It's not about no damn headphones and the damn press conference and so they want to talk. No, you know, Deontay Wilder is the biggest name in boxing. When Tyson Fury attached to Deontay Wilder, it provides him much more shine himself. But yet, the shine that he's provided as an individual fighter in the sport has been to his own doing. He's been the cheater. He's been the one that was full of deceit. He's been an individual that wanted to cut corners, that took PEDs. So therefore, when it comes down to this strategy, of course, more eyes is going to be on Fury stepping into that ring. And look, the only other person, in my opinion, that can sabotage this fight outside of what Fury did in the rematch is the sanctioning body, is the referee, is the judges. That's who I look at it. Commission. They will have to play a big role in sabotaging this particular fight, with Fury potentially trying to come out here as the victor. It will have to be perfectly planned. It will have to be some bullshit included in this fight, and that's what we're not hoping for. We're hoping that they get a fair playing field. Both fighters go in there, answer the bell, and we get to see the top two heavyweights go in there and contend for this WBC title. That's it.
Yeah, that's exactly what, you know, I want. But, you know, I don't understand why people. Well, I understand why, but, you know, they gotta let that hate in their heart go. They gotta let it go at some point, you know. And going around here just, you know, bad mouthing the fight because Deontay Wilder got his way, which he was rightfully so. You can't get mad at that. You know what I'm saying? You can't get mad at that. But, you know, as far as that thing that you was talking about with that McGuigan guy, you know, he can say whatever he wants to, but he has a whole lot of fighters that got a whole lot of L's. I mean, all these guys, they go around here, they talk about Wilder, he can't do this, he can't do that. I got into an argument with a guy, right? World Combat Sports. And he said, Tyson Fury has Crunk Jim in his corner. And I told him, I was like, yeah, they world renowned and all that stuff, but what has Crunk Jim produced in the last 10 years?
Correct. I mean, how has Crunk Jim produced any other fighters prior to Tyson Fury to represent somewhat of a crunk? I'm talking about that crunk sauce that Tyson Fury had. What other fighter has done that? You're trying to say you provided Tyson Fury with this distinguished amount of power? Like, where did that shit come from? It wasn't no power. It's because of Deontay was, you know, his bloodstream, his system was contaminated with something.
And I told folks, I also told folks, like, you can't even explain, like, what did Tyson Fury do different in the second fight? He didn't do nothing different. He did the same damn shit, but he did the same damn shit. He threw the same type of punches. He tried to walk Wilder down the same way that he did in the first fight. But this fight, it happened to work because obviously somebody wasn't 100%. I mean, it's easy to go around and say, oh, Wilder got bullied. Yeah, everybody, all these fighters out here that Wilder has beaten were licking their chops and hoping they had that version of Deontay Wilder. You know what I'm saying? And it's not just me in World Combat Sports that's saying this. There are fighters and there are promoters that's saying this. And you know what I'm saying? There's past fighters that's saying the same thing we're saying. This is not something we just pulling out of our damn ass. You know what I'm saying? And if that's what you choose to believe, God willing. But at the end of the day, it's a fucking fact. The dude had Deontay Wilder. He got the Deontay Wilder that wasn't 100%. And that's the only thing I said. Now, if you want to talk about gloves and shit like that, only thing I want people to acknowledge is that they looked it funny.
Correct. Absolutely.
That's the only thing I don't want nobody saying he cheated with the gloves. Like, I'm talking about if I'm talking to somebody that's on the other side of the spectrum. I just want you to look at his gloves and tell me that, yeah, they looked a bit off. That's the only thing I want, because no matter how you put it, it looked off. You can't sugarcoat it. I mean, you can lie about it.
Check this out, Mike. These are people who say they've been watching boxing for years, but they'll see gloves looking all flimsy and flopping in the motherfucking wind, and they'll act like, oh, I see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what you're talking about. They look fine to me. Yeah, they look fine because of the person that was on the front end of that delegation. You know what I'm saying? And Wilder. That's why you're just trying to smooth over it and treat it as if it didn't exist. That's all I'm saying. You've been watching boxing forever and a day, and you don't think the gloves look a little bit flimsy?
Right. That's just the only thing I'm saying. Then they want to say they want to bring up Muhammad Ali, different type of gloves. They didn't even have the thing for the thumbs. They didn't even use tape on their gloves. It was a totally different. You can't even use that in today's boxing because it's not a modern glove.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Don't drop those gems. Don't drop those facts on them, bro. Don't do that.
I mean, like, yeah, the real estate. It says modern glove or design. You can't use that shit. You can't use no gloves that Muhammad Ali used. You can slide your hand in and out of them gloves because there was no tape. The pattern that was made off of was a lot looser. It wasn't as strong as today's foam technology. It wasn't.
Of course.
So you can't compare Muhammad Ali's gloves. Then you say Earl Spence. Earl Spence damn near broke his fucking wrist. But at least his wrist folded towards his arm.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like the proper way a wrist is supposed to turn. But you try to say Earl Spence, but it's just these dudes this is what I told the homie. I was like, you can't get mad at these guys because this is what they choose to either see or lie about. And there's nothing we can do about it. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna do what they want to do. But I'm just surprised at the hypocritical media, those guys who fail to do their job. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to pointing out corruption and all that stuff. And they really only did it once this year with the scorecard calling, but they didn't do it with the last score calling. You know what I'm saying? The only reason why they did it with the last score calling was because it wasn't because of the scoring. It was a compound of the scoring with their racist remarks. They was gonna let her off.
Correct.
They didn't give a damn about that shit, just like they don't give a damn about the dude, like the ref that came out and said that he fucked up. They don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck about your black ass. They didn't do that shit because of people on YouTube and stuff like that. They did it because the ABC told them that was so fucking blatant.
Mm-hmm.
Because a group of white people behind the scenes told them that. I'm just saying it. Like, they ain't listening to no black dude. The hell they care about us for? We don't run shit.
A lot of people, especially on the YouTube, some of the content creators, and it's nothing against them, and I'm just saying it would be good if they would just check out some amateur fights throughout, and then all the way up to some professional fights, so you can kind of have an understanding of what goes on in boxing on those levels and why it still exists once they hit the professional level to try to fuck over another fighter, just like Maestre. Maestre know he was getting his gloves wrapped incorrectly. He knew it. He knew they was trying to give him an advantage with his knuckles, but he allowed them to do it anyway. Why? Because probably he's seen that shit and felt that it was okay to cut corners from the AMs all the way up to when, you know, he was coming here to the professionals. And Maestri didn't have that many professional fights. A lot of that shit he learned on the amateur level to cheat. So
Eddie Guerrero. You hear me?
Yeah, what you say?
I was just saying that old good old Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah, man.
Lie, cheating, steal. And you know, and I heard, I mean, I'm not even a big, you know, amateur follower either, but you know, the shit that them dudes gotta go through, flights, the equipment and all that shit, and then have to show up to a fight and get the fuck put towards them. You know what I'm saying? That's a lot of money going in that amateur sports. Like I tell people all the time, gloves ain't cheap, headgear ain't cheap, your boots, I mean, your shoes ain't cheap. Ain't none of that shit cheap. You know what I'm saying? And you know, the better quality of stuff you have, you know, especially when it comes to mouthpieces and gloves, you know, the better you are in the long run, protect yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
They none of that stuff cheap, and they be getting fucked over all the time.
I think we should also be aware too that it's a lot of Mexican fighters coming up from the ground floor more than blacks. The percentage of Mexican fighters coming up from the ground floor into the professional ranks would definitely outweigh black fighters coming up through the amateur ranks.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of black referees Hispanic referees, a lot of Hispanic judges, and it's definitely a lot of Hispanic fighters that's coming up every day to step into the amateur ranks to become professionals. And blacks are just not putting in the numbers like that on the amateur ranks. They're not.
Yeah. And all the way down to the judges, referees, the people on the boxing commissions out there too. It's like you hear a whole bunch of Hispanic names, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You don't hear a bunch of white names. And then almost all the these boxing organizations you hear of that have belts, you rarely hear no black names on their structure. You know? Yeah. They predominantly Mexican.
Correct. And I think that's what I'm saying, that in order to speak on boxing in its entirety, you definitely need to step away from the microphone and go to some of these fights that's not big name fighters. Go to the amateur fights periodically. Get your familiarization with everything that's going on. How some of these fighters you see go in there and performing and fight their ass off and they get robbed. And you saying to yourself, why they get robbed? Okay, that's why they got robbed. You can see how these amateur fighters are getting robbed. Then you can have a better understanding as to why they're getting robbed on the professional level, because the shit happened on the ground floor.
Because everybody know each other but you.
Yeah.
Everybody homies. I mean, I'm talking about this stuff not to bring up the race issue, but what I'm saying is all of them know each other.
Mm-hmm.
All of them know each other, or somebody else knows somebody. They can go talk to somebody. You know what I'm saying? They look the same. And they probably Alejandra Jimenez. She's a family friend of the Suleimans, and they got baby pictures of her.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about. You have direct correlations of a fighter and a boxing commission. Basically gave her the benefit of the doubt, but give everybody the fuck.
And they still advocated for the cheetah.
Yeah.
And they're pretty much contemplating on whether to give that belt back to Franchon. And shout out to the champ, the unified champ Franchon. She was on deck down here at ATL for the fight card we just had at Buckhead Theater, her and her husband. So shout out to the champ. She was on deck.
Yeah, I heard she did a national anthem.
Yeah, she did the national anthem. When do you get that, Mike? A female that can box and sing.
Hey, she's been trying to do her thing, man. Like, that's why I give her hats off to her. Her and Tara Brown trying to do some movies and stuff like that, and doing their own thing, trying to get their name out there, man. But that's the thing that kind of pisses me off is you know, you somebody that don't know everybody,
Mm-hmm.
and they're trying to put their people on, and so they don't want to give you no time of day.
True.
That's the way I put it.
You know, that was one of the it could have been another boxing black eye if the WBC wouldn't have returned their belt to Franchon and made her fight for it. But we had the opportunity once again see Mauricio Suleiman show his ugly face and show his true colors, because the WBA had already returned the belt to her, and Mauricio said, you know, she had to fight for it, and then all the backlash came. He said, okay. But guess what? Mauricio continued to screw fighters over. He's continuing to screw fighters over, man. Just like the Oscar Valdez. You know, that is a little bit off topic, but I'm just saying, he's up here giving therapeutic waivers and recreating and revising the list of banned substances just to freaking take up for Canelo Alvarez and Oscar Valdez and all that Reynoso team over there that's cheating. And next is going to be Ryan Garcia. But Ryan, he was smart enough to stay out the sport before, you know, get that shit out of his system before he returned. You know what I'm saying? He didn't want to get busted.
Yeah, I just put like I don't think a lot of these. You know, I give the fighters a benefit of doubt, but deep down inside, I don't believe it. I don't believe a lot of these bad boys, and they pop up with depression. When they say stuff like straight out of the blue, and it's kind of like right on time. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt, but I seriously don't believe it. You know, but as far as with the WBC, Fenterman guy, you know, this is how the WBC. This a prime example of how the WBC is able to get away with a lot of this stuff is because everything that they put out is that you just gonna have to trust them, right? Franchise title shit or whatever it's called. Can't understand it, but you just have to trust them. Their whole thing with clenbuterol, don't understand it, you just have to trust them. This whole thing with fentanyl, you don't understand it, you just have to trust them. The way they did David Haney, when they snatched the belt from him quick, fast, in a hurry, when they allow people to be out of the ring for a whole year and not fight anybody. Don't worry about it, just trust them. And like I said, with this fentanyl, you come out here and say that we had doctors, specialists, or whoever tell you whoever this and the third. You don't have no names. You don't have no what they specialize in. You don't have nothing written down from them. All it is, trust me. You know what I'm saying? All it is trust me. And I wish Vada, I wish USADA would do, because you know, back in the days, what was his name? Bill Romanowski. Used to play linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he got popped for fentanyl, and he had to deal with his suspension with the NFL. And guess what he said? This one thing he said. He said, "I take anything to make me better, as long as it wasn't banned. But as soon as it's banned, I'm not taking it anymore." He's like, I did almost everything in my power to tweeze the lines of illegal and illegal. But he said he had never taken nothing that's on the banned substance list. He'd take right before his ban, and he was taking that fentanyl from a prescription from his wife. And so you mean to tell me we supposed to he has to come out with all his proof of what he was doing. All these other fighters got to come up with proof and all that stuff when they pop and all this stuff to you guys. But when it comes to these fans and stuff like that, you don't have nothing. All it is take my word for it. Trust me. You don't got no credit in the streets with trust or nothing like that. But people are believing it. You literally have people out here you literally have fighters, people on Twitter and on YouTube saying things like, now LDBC and World Combat Sports and all you guys are doctors and this and the third, blah, blah, blah. You guys know everything about fentanyl and this and the third. It's online. It's the same research. What do you think your doctor gets it from? If your doctor is not a chemist, a biologist, or anything like that, some dude who make drugs, where do you think he get his information from? From a book or online? Where do you think they get this stuff from? They got a little. They give your ass a little pamphlet. They say, "Hey, read this. This is what you need to know about this coding I'm giving you." Where do you think they get it from? It doesn't take a doctor to understand that phentermine is a fucking stimulant. And everybody that has taken it has said they have increased thinking capabilities and stamina.
And that's what a lot of supplements, all the supplement is to help a fighter either, be able to go in there and work out several times a day and assist with their recovery. And also in between that, it encompasses giving them strength to do so. You know what I'm saying? It gives them enough strength to do so. They pop positive for it. People will say, "Oh, it wasn't this. It was just a cutting agent." No, if something is even a cutting agent, is helping you lose weight. It's helping you get back in there and continue another training session to lose that weight. A stimulant, it allows your body to go through the rigors of training without getting as tired as you would if you wasn't on it. You know what I'm saying? That's why they banned TRT. TRT, man, it was one of those things where mostly in the UFC, it was in Pride and all those organizations. TRT was big, and it was one of those consistent enhancing drugs that deal with testosterone that fighters was taking because they just felt so good on it. You know what I'm saying? It gave you that muscle mass, but it didn't take away your endurance. It didn't take away your stamina. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to get back to close out the Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder situation. Speaking of phentermine, do you think Tyson was on some type of performance-enhancing drug that night?
I mean, he could have been, and I'll be watching him.
I don't know.
I'll be watching him. I mean, and the dude, he doesn't have depression. The motherfucker be getting high. And that's all I got to tell people. He just be getting high. Mike Tyson used to wear this is my whole thing, right? When you go get piss test, is the dude watching the nigga lean? Is he right up on you? You know what I'm saying? Is it like boot camp style where you got to put your pants around your ankles? Like what is it? Because if it's anything like Mike Tyson said, they're not really watching. You can put it. I wouldn't be surprised if you put Wizard Miser, whatever Mike Tyson called it, on and pissed out one of his kids' piss or something like that. I wouldn't put it past him.
Correct. I mean, it was different back then, right? But I think it's also different today, depending on who you are and where you at for the fight. They can still do some shit like Mike Tyson was talking about. Yes, sir. I mean, you get fighters that get caught every now and then. You know what I'm saying? It's going to happen, especially if you're up here taking 3 and 4 types of performance-enhancing drugs. But I don't put anything past Tyson, bro.
Yeah, I'm just going to be real with y'all. When we used to do urinalysis in the Navy, right? Man, you think I'm looking at? You think I'm going to take somebody in the bathroom, look at that? Man, I ain't looking at nobody, dick. I tell you that straight up. I'm not. No, I never have. All the urinalysis I do, I stand by the wall, they piss in the cup, and we leave. I'm not looking at. Well, I ain't looking at nobody's meat for what?
Yeah, you're right, man. I mean, you took a piss test. That's quite different than boxing, though, because they only test for certain things. Mostly, they was testing for cocaine and marijuana. You know what I'm saying? This athletics, professional sports, they test for a plethora of other substances. You know what I'm saying? And chemicals.
Right.
So yeah, I get what you're saying, though. Let me move on to Terrence Crawford. I see Mitch. He commented on what I put up in the title about Sean Porter and Terrence Crawford. And he said Porter can't be one of Crawford's easiest opponents. He'll at the very least go 12. Okay, that's your opinion there, Mitch. That's your opinion. But also I put up on the thumbnail. Let me show you my thumbnail so you will never get it confused. All right. You have to look at this thumbnail and understand that Sean Porter's already been to the canvas before. Period. He's been to the canvas. It's not like it's impossible to say that Sean Porter may be Terrence Crawford's easy opponent when it comes to the styles, because there's no way that Sean Porter can box Terrence Crawford like he did Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia waits around and try to counter a lot and use his power. But the one factor that I like about Sean Porter, his style is tailor-made for Terrence Crawford to blast on him, to get off on him. For real, because if you're going to come right to Terrence Crawford, Terrence is going to have his way in a lot of those rounds. It's 12 rounds. He's going to have his way, in my opinion. He might be one of the easiest opponents for Crawford. If he chose to come in through the front door and allow someone with the strength that Crawford has to land those counter shots on him, because Crawford has fast hands too, then it may be a short night for Sean Porter. It's not like he ain't been on the ground before. Let's stop playing that, Mitch. I don't know why you mentioning Green Machine, Horn, Jose Benavidez, Khan, especially Khan. I just don't know why you're mentioning Khan. He's been all over the canvas like paint. Khan been over the canvas like paint. And, we can talk about Brook, but that's the fact that he got the job done. That was a common opponent with him and Errol Spence. What you think about that matchup, man?
I think it's a good matchup. I think if Sean Porter worked on his defense and his punch placing a little bit, I think he could make the fight a lot more competitive. But if he don't,
so let me ask you this, Mike, before you go. When you say defense, right? He needs to work on his defense at distance, or he needs to work on his defense on his way in to fight on the inside?
On his way in and coming out.
Okay.
Because he has a tendency to keep his hands down. Now put his hands back up.
Yeah.
And but he could take a shot, but
he can take a shot, but come on now, that helmet. Hey, it's dare to be hit, man, because he just put his head down and he want to swing for the fences. That's why Errol Spence called him in the 11th, man. With that,
you need better punch placement. If like even with Danny Garcia and the couple other guys, it wasn't like his punch placement was like too far off, but he needed some tweaking. And his defense, man, he just always keep leaving himself open. I mean, if you're gonna come forward, man, and stuff like that, you can't just keep going forward one way. You can't just keep giving them these guys one way Sean Porter. Like sometimes, yeah. Be a little stiff leg. Sometimes be light on your feet. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes move a little bit more. Stop giving them the same thing over and over again. That's why you keep getting hit with them hooks.
And see, that's
what having them looking stupid.
That's what I'm saying about this fight. It's going to be a big test for Sean Porter, other than Crawford, because Crawford uses his jab. He triples his jab, often. He has good pressure. If he decides to pressure Sean Porter more than Porter even thought he would get, and then on the ropes, we already saw, like I put up the Jeff Horn fight, how Jeff was the bigger fighter, but yet after the first round of Crawford being on the ropes, he started to turn Jeff Horn. He started to make sure he was never in that position again. I feel that he can do the same thing to Porter. He's just as strong as Porter. People underestimate how strong Crawford is, but he is a physically strong human being, And people just look at Sean Porter as being strong just for his aggressive nature. But when Crawford's catching him coming in with that jab, leading with that damn whatever, left or right hook, a check left or right, whatever, it's going to be a hard night when that helmet being touched coming into the damn distance of Crawford. And I just haven't seen Sean Porter switch it up enough. Like, it was easy for him to do it against Danny Garcia because he knew he was going to be waiting. But Crawford, if he puts that pressure on Sean Porter, like say 4th or 5th round, and the shit start changing, I say he's going to have much more effectiveness than Errol Spence did. Because Errol Spence can be predictable too.
Yeah, you ain't lying. I just don't like Sean Porter's defense, man. Like, I think for to have the amount of heart he has, the work ethic, he get up in there, this ring, this amount of stamina he got, you know, his fighting capability, just not to work on that defense, man. I think that's a big letdown, you know.
We know Porter has the stamina. We know he come in shape. But goddamn it,
I think it's just a waste of boxing.
Was he in shape when he fought AB? Was he in shape? You know, the whole time he was going back and forth with Errol Spence and Kell Brook and all them cats, man. Keith Thurman. Yeah, he was in shape, but over time, you get older, you take punishment, you recover from the fight, you go back in there. And we know Errol Spence is not a heavy-handed fighter. It depends on what style he get, you know, with the pressure. But Terrence Crawford, he presents much more of a problem for Shawn Porter because he can fight from either side. And plus, he's a strong fighter. He has power. And Shawn Porter want to come in there with that helmet front and center, it's gonna get touched, man.
I just don't see why get in the ring and just be like, yeah, I'm gonna get hit in the head X amount of times. You know, I'm already kind of like stuttering and shit. You know how I'm gonna be when I'm 50. Fuck it. I'm gonna get in this ring and I'm gonna take all these big shots. I'm not gonna move. I'm gonna eat them all. Like, why would you even want to do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand why would you want to, you know, take that amount of punishment in the ring, risk getting knocked out, risk losing because you got everything but defense.
And that's my biggest look. That was one of my biggest qualms with making this thumbnail is that people will get on here and look just at Shawn Porter's stamina and his durability and not mention the fact that he lacks defense. Even Errol Spence, in my opinion, lacks defense in a lot of ways. But you're going in there with a variety fighter, a boxer rather, like Terrence Crawford. I mean, it's a lot of areas that he gives trouble to fighters. He stopped every one of his opponents, whether you say they was bums or trash or not. He did what he's supposed to do. Porter is the next man on deck, and he presents this style that's aggressive, but still target practice will be active in that fight. Accuracy from Terrence Crawford will be right on point with Shawn Porter coming right down the middle, trying to bully Crawford. He can't look. Shawn Porter can't go in there and try to box Crawford. We know that. He's not going to try to box him. He's going to have to, you know, he's going to go in there with the mindset and the mentality to bully Crawford and try to see who's stronger. You know, and I think Crawford would have success with Shawn Porter, aggressiveness, his pressure, not really switching up his angles, being able to land some counter uppercuts on Porter, some lead counter hooks. You know, I mean, it's going to be there all day, man. Shawn Porter, he may face multiple knockdowns. Hey, man, shout out to Stormy B, man, on deck, man. Salute to you.
What up, Stormy?
Definitely go check out Stormy B. Definitely go check him out, man. Fire content, man, and definitely educational. Mark, what's good, man?
Oh, my bad. Say again?
I'm trying to see if Mark hear me. Mark, you hear me or no?
Mark. I can't hear him either. Matter of fact, I can't even see him.
Man. Hey, Mark, you on mute, man.
Tell him.
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
No, I know you can. I'm saying for Mark. Mark, you on mute.
I don't even see him. I don't think you clicked on him.
Yeah, I did. Mark, you there? Keep on. Okay, go ahead with what you were saying, man.
Man.
I'm going to read Stormy B's comment. He said Porter doesn't have the ring smarts, not even in the same league, period. And, you know, not everybody understand what ring smarts is. You know what I'm saying? They just look at, once again, durability and pressure. They're not going to understand what ring smarts is, man. Just because that's your favorite fighter, How can somebody say he don't have ring smarts? Only the ones with experience and understand style versus styles in this particular fight will understand how that plays a role in here. You know what I'm saying? Ring smarts can dive into, you know, the ring IQ and everything of a fighter. Porter is a straight ahead type of fighter, a brawler. And we saw what happened with him and Adrian Granados. He went life and limb with Adrian Granados. He didn't have to. He fought Adrian Granados' fight. So it is what it is, man. I'm just saying Crawford has much more tools in the cachet, man, to give Sean Porter fits. And he might be the next one on Terrence Crawford knockout list, man. I don't know why people think Sean Porter can't get stopped.
I don't know what Sean Porter gonna do in this fight, but he can cause somebody problems though. He could cause you problems here and there between these rounds. You know, it's just gonna be up to Sean Porter if he figured it out, because all this come straightforward shit is good and dandy and all, but it ain't been working out for you for your career, man. He been doing the same shit over and over again, and he got all these L's.
That's all I'm saying. Against top tier opponents now.
Yeah, I give him that one. But he ain't doing it. He ain't doing enough to correct that stuff. That's why I think that, you know, if he came up in here and, you know, played around with the tempo, fixed his defense, fixed the work with his little, you know, fixed his punch placement, you know, I think it'd be better off. But if he just sit over there and tuck his chin and just, you know, start welding like he normally does.
For the fences. Yeah. Shoot for the fences, man. Just swing for the fences.
Yeah.
You're not gonna win with that style with Terrence Crawford. He's not gonna get spooked. He's not gonna act like he's under a different type of pressure than he ever seen. You're not gonna do it with him, man. He's a different dude. He's a different type of fighter, man.
Like he don't be setting nothing up. Like you know what I'm saying? It's like that's the shit I don't understand. You getting set up, like you're getting set up with feints and shit like that with the Danny Garcia fight, but you ain't doing shit. Like, but just, you know, coming forward, tucking your chin, and just, and you know what I'm saying? Just hoping that you get lucky. That's what it seemed like. Hoping that you get lucky.
He get a headbutt in there too. Sean be headbutting.
Oh God. He the headbutt superstar.
Mm-hmm.
That boy right there. And, you know, I don't think they're going to say anything about that in this fight either. Them headbutts, because the motherfucking headbutts is vicious. But I think, seriously, I just think that he just needs to work on that defense, man. I think he'd be better off. But I think we're a day late and a dollar short on that one.
Yeah, you know, I can't say him and Kenny Porter, they don't go to the drawing board. I can't say they don't, but it's different to draw something on the board that's easy to understand rather than something that's a problem that has a formula to it. Terrence Crawford has a formula to it. If you're talking about mathematics, okay, it's different. I think it's much more technical than what they had to go to the drawing board for Danny Garcia. I believe when they went in there, they knew how Danny Garcia was going to come and fight. They knew it. You know, Sean Porter can set the pace if he chose to, box if he wanted to a little bit here and there, brawl when he chose to. But just watch out for Danny Garcia's right hand. And sure enough, he landed the right hand, you know, several times on Porter. Porter took it. After that, it was easy. But with Terrence Crawford, he just has more in his damn arsenal, man. And he has speed and power and strength that Sean Porter is going to have to deal with. Even something he didn't have to pretty much deal with in the Errol Spence fight. You know, I think, in my opinion, I think Terrence Crawford has more power than Errol Spence, in my opinion. That's just my opinion.
It could be true. I mean, it could be true, you know, but this is something that we're going to have to see, you know, and hopefully, you know, Next year, them two guys get in the ring.
Hey, can you hear me, Mark? Yeah,
Yes,
you're on
sir.
mute.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How you feel, my brother?
What's good, man? How you feeling, bro?
Man, I'm always good, even when it's bad, man. Thanks again for pulling me on the show. Thanks for the opportunity. Chop it up with y'all about some good boxing.
Right on. What's that? What's happening?
Yeah, man, I just want to tap in on this a little bit, man. I did a show the other day, and I said a lot of things you guys are saying right here, World Combat Sports, and some people told me we wasn't giving Sean Porter a fair shake. They said, hey, you guys act like Sean Porter ain't nothing, and I'm telling them, no, he's a good fighter, but the other guys is a great fighter. The other guy's going to the Hall of Fame, and I just think he's better. I don't see any technical advantage for Sean Porter for him to pull this out. Even with Bud's flaws, where he sometimes pulls straight back out with his chin up, I don't think Sean Porter packs the punch to stop him or drop him or wobble him or hurt him. He might hit Bud Crawford, but I just don't see him doing any of that. That bullying tactic is going to get him chopped up. When he does that, a lot of times he smother his own work. His punches are wide and loopy. Bud has pinpoint accuracy. He's going to punch in between Porter shots. His style is Porter's style is tailor made for Bud Crawford to go in there and put on a phenomenal performance. And I just don't see why Sean Porter. I get it, he's a 2-time champion, but we got to stop it, man. Acting like this guy Sean Porter is going to go in there. He hasn't shown me any signs that he can go in there and stop Bud Crawford. He's going life and death with a lot of these guys that we don't think he should have went life and death with.
Yeah, I believe the sport has definitely evolved around Sean Porter. I think Sean Porter continued to fight the way he did because he felt he can get away with it. He used to be a previous football player. So, we can take a look at the fight he had with Yordenis Ugas. That wasn't an easy fight for him. And Ugas had some success in that fight. But when he went in there and fought Danny Garcia, I always like to mention this, is that we knew Danny Garcia was going to play the waiting game. He wasn't going to be the one pressuring Porter. That wasn't Danny Garcia's style, So he was able to go in there and win that vacant WBC title. But besides that, what is the standout fight? Errol Spence. And he gave Errol Spence the style that Errol Spence wanted. Come forward, and Errol Spence is going to come forward. And what did we get the entire fight? Both of these fighters being the aggressors. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't too much boxing. It was boxing in pockets. But, even then, it was tailor-made for Errol Spence's style too. This style isn't tailor-made. I mean, this style is tailor-made for Terrence Crawford in a sense that he has much more variety to his boxing technique. His skills, in my opinion, far exceeds that of Sean Porter when it comes to how many ways can you beat Sean Porter? Plenty. Starting off with him fighting, right-handed or southpaw. I mean, we're going to see how that works off, man, for Sean Porter.
Yeah, I agree, World Combat Sports. Bud Crawford just has too many tools in the toolbox. Not only that, his punch selection. The way he's sneaky with that uppercut inside that he's gotten guys with. He can throw the looping overhand right. He can switch up and throw the lead left. He has a check hook. I just don't even see Sean Porter showing these type of punches or where he's just hitting guys with a clean check left as they coming in or a check right. I just don't see him throwing these type of punches. I see him rushing. He bull rushing, leads with his head a lot. And he's gonna get hurt. But I don't think his father's gonna stop it. I heard some people saying earlier, I believe, I don't know if it was this episode on another one, it was like Kenny Porter gonna stop it. I don't picture that. Kenny Porter knows his son is a warrior. His son is a 2-time champion, and he believes in his son, and he wants to give his son a chance. But I believe the referee is gonna stop it. The referee is gonna save him from himself. He's gonna get saved from himself. He's gonna it's just gonna be accumulation of punishment. He's gonna be changing in that ring. And he's gonna see the ghost of Kell Brook, the ghost of Thurman, and the ghost of EJ, and it's just gonna, the writing is on the wall. I just don't see it. I think he has too many things he's focused on outside the ring as well, with the commentating, the Porter Way podcast, doing the Olympics. It's just too many distractions. Do you think he's still going to do his podcast while he's training for this fight, or you think he's going to just sit it out?
I mean, it's just a podcast. If you want to go in there and talk, it doesn't take much energy to do a podcast, especially if you pretty much inclined to the topic that you want to speak on. I really, Sean Porter, I know where you're getting this information. I read the same thing. Like, Sean Porter is more interested in commentating now, being on TV and everything. So, he can say to Terrence Crawford, let me put this up here. He's basically been making a point that Terrence Crawford really didn't want to fight him. Let me put the first one up there. He said, but we both know I'm not the PBC fighter he wanted to get in the ring with. And that's not even talking about Errol Spence Jr. So there's that, said Porter about Crawford. So really, we all know that if he wanted to step in there with Manny Pacquiao, cool. Because he should have wanted to step in there with Manny Pacquiao for the legacy of Manny Pacquiao, and also if he would have had that WBA belt. That's all I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Sean Porter can, sit up here and wear a suit and a tie now and not have the motivation to step back in the ring. But guess what? If you don't have the absolute 100% motivation to step in there with Terrence Crawford, you're going to get your ass stopped. Period. You're going to get your ass stopped for the first time. And you're right, Mark. It may not be his pops, but that referee sure enough would.
Yeah, the doctor, they're going to save him, man. He's going to be flipping and flopping all over that ring. Sean Porter's a tremendous talent in the sport of boxing. Sean Porter is often, I used to tell people, he's used as the measuring stick at PBC. They always used him as the measuring stick. They throw him in there first with the guys, like, see what they can do with Sean before somebody else fight him. What do you think of my assessment of saying that about Sean Porter? Am I mischaracterizing him?
Go ahead, Mike. You want to touch
on? No, I just think the fight is going to go to a decision. And I don't, as far as Sean Porter's podcast and the stuff that he does and stuff, I don't care what you're doing, man. You still got to have time for yourself and the things, things that you like to do. And that's probably his hobby. He probably likes doing it. He probably doesn't mind doing it, And, I don't care how many times, 2 times, 3 times a day you got to train and stuff like that. Still got to have time for yourself. So things that you want to do, you know what I'm saying? That's how you keep saying.
But when you're doing the podcast, though, you got to prep, right? Don't you prep what you're going to talk about? Isn't that distracting? Like, you're not training, so you be relaxing.
I mean, no, you're talking about the sport of boxing. I mean, you're either studying somebody else's fight and stuff like that. That still helps you out for your fight. I mean, there's a lot of hours in the day. I mean, and you're training and all that stuff, but Sean Porter ain't never came in the ring, out of shape or not looking focused or anything. So,
Stormy B said y'all saw that Ugas, what Ugas did to Pacquiao. Picture that ending with the KO. That's what would have happened with Bud facing Manny. What do y'all think about that point made?
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I feel like I already know. I coined that phrase a long time ago. Hashtag BBE. Bud beats everybody at 147. Period. BBE. Bud beats everybody. I just don't see these guys beating him. I just think he has too many advantages. A lot of these guys have been sucking down to get to this weight for a long time. Bud has grown into the weight. That's going to be another thing. What you guys are saying, wearing battle tested, and I call it wear and tear. This guy been through a lot of wars. Bud ain't even seen the 12th round since Victor Postal, man, and he dominated that fight. This guy ain't even going to the 12th round, man. So that's less wear and tear, less mileage, less ring, less damage that you're taking in the ring. I'm just saying, man, he getting the job done. If he don't, for the people say he ain't fought nobody, he never fought a top welterweight. He beat the champ to get the belt. Period. Say what you want to say about Jeff Horn. He went life and death with Pacquiao and beat Pacquiao. And it ain't no way around it.
How about that?
Number one guy for the champ.
Hey, Marcus, what's good, man?
What's good?
Marcus, Ohio Run Boxing on the building. I know who he about to talk on.
It's my guy right here. I was in his Instagram not too long ago. What's up, Ohio Runs Boxing?
What's good?
Ohio Run Boxing on deck, man. Salute to you. What's good?
Pretty good.
Go ahead and speak on your boy Porter.
No. First of all, I want to speak on my boy Crawford too, because that's my dog. People for years, people know I've been always vouching for Crawford. I've never been a guy, and I'm gonna just say this before I say what I say about Porter, but I've never been a guy that said Crawford just didn't fight nobody. You'll never find none of that in the history of my social media. I've always talked about how unique this guy was, and the guys that he beat accomplished many things. Some people, like I said, you get a lot of guys who don't know the sport, and they play the talent of who Crawford beat because of how Crawford made them look so damn
Right.
easy.
Mm-hmm.
John Molina, tough fighter. Broner went the distance with him. Crawford destroyed him.
Mm-hmm.
Gene, what's his name? Gene, from out of Canada. Lamar Peterson beat him, but Crawford just destroyed him. Jeff Horn, Manny Pacquiao, we can go on and on. I actually had Jeff Horn winning that fight when I actually watched that fight. It was never controversial to me.
Yeah, they tried to act like he was robbed. He wasn't robbed.
Absolutely not. I actually had Jeff Horn winning that fight against Manny Pacquiao. The style was just all wrong for Manny, and that's why they really didn't take that rematch. It was just all wrong for him, and Crawford made it look easy. Crawford does possess a lot of different tools when it comes to Sean Porter. Out of all people that can probably get the stoppage on Sean Porter, it will be Crawford. I have no problem with people saying that, but here's the difficult part when you're fighting a guy like Porter. I remember Scotty saying this the other couple of days ago. He said Porter is predictable. He's not as predictable as people think he is. Porter's style reminds me of a guy, a kid we grew up playing video games, and we remember that guy that just come over our house and he be pressing all the buttons while you already know how to play the game, you know how to counter, you know how to do all this dude is pressing all these buttons and he embarrassing you in front of your friends because you can't time him. Eventually you will catch on, but by the time you didn't catch on, you done lost 8 or 9 games and you pissed off. You get frustrated. Sean Porter's style is so similar to that, but he has a little bit more skill to that. Sean can take punch. Recovery rate is amazing. It's similar to Floyd Mayweather and a few other guys who can take punishment, get hurt for a second, and they recover instantly. Broner hit him on the ground. He got back up. Broner couldn't even hit him with the same exact shot. Earl Spence hitting, and the glove just touched the ground. That's a guy that has dog and will in him. And when you got a recovery rate like that, it's going to be very interesting. Now, here's my thing with Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford hasn't fought a guy who had dog and will where you hit him with everything you got and he keeps coming. Mentally, I don't know if y'all guys boxed before, but when you fight a guy like that, you respect him. You will never, even if you win, you don't even want to fight him again. That's the type of respect you have. When El Charlo beat Castano, he wasn't like, oh, we got to run that back. He said, hey, it's up to Al. It's up to my management. Bro, it's serious. When you fight somebody that got dog and will and bring it right back to you, when you hit them with everything you got, it's a whole different ball game, which is why I like this fight for Terrence Crawford. I like this fight for Terrence Crawford because he gets to show some of the doubters that he's up there. But on the other hand, Sean Porter, he can play. If Crawford comes in this fight thinking that he has to prove, he has to stop Sean Porter, I love the odds in Crawford, not Crawford, Porter. I love Porter's odds in this fight if Crawford is coming in thinking he's got to stop him to get respect, because Earl Spence did the same exact thing. Came forward, thinking he's just gonna stop him, hit him with the best shot, and all you found yourself in is in a war with a guy that wants to fight, that wants to make it rough, headbutts. It's gonna be some cutting going on in there. But if Crawford is disciplined, don't let his motions get in, it can be a long night for Sean. That's just being fact. If he don't let his motions get the best of him, it can be a long night for Sean. Because Terrence Crawford has a problem sometimes getting over emotional, trying to prove himself too. So a lot of people got to be careful with that. I watch both of these guys. I've been watching Sean before he got signed to the big company. I've been following these guys for a long time. So, but I love the fight. I think it's gonna be great. And the narrative's gonna change for both because I'm not like that. if Sean Porter beats Crawford, people are going to say, well, he never fought nobody. Now look what happened. There's a lot of people who don't know boxing. I do not get caught in that.
Do you think Porter's boxing skill set has evolved over time? Do you believe him as a fighter has evolved over time in order for him to go ahead and get this win over Crawford?
I think he has gotten better on some of the things where he's able to break out of clinches. But to answer your question, I think he has a better chance. But I don't know if his boxing skills evolve to the point, because he still throws sloppy punches. And I also remember, I heard y'all guys say that too, where y'all was talking about the more skillful fighter who throw cleaner punches. Guess what, guys? This is boxing. They don't always win. The most skillful fighter don't always beat the guy who's less skillful, throw punches sloppy. We can go back in history. We had Ricardo Mayorga. Go look at the
Yeah, for sure. I know
Ricardo Mayorga threw
Ricardo
punches
Mayorga.
like
That's everybody's stamping label right there when it comes to Vernon Forrest.
That's one of them.
Sugar Shane Mosley.
Yeah, I know, but Vernon Forrest lost to Ricardo Mayorga.
Correct.
Yeah, and then you had
twice.
Yeah, twice. Then you got Angulo. Angulo ain't the most skilled. He throw little wild punches too, Angulo. But he made Laura look average. But why?
Big Darchinian. I hated his style, but he was a monster.
Right. So it's like styles make fights, and sometimes I get frustrated with certain people because they this triangle theory that they try to paint makes no difference. Angulo, his attribute was he knew how to cut off the ring. Canelo don't know how to cut off the ring. That's why Canelo, who's the better fighter than Angulo, couldn't hit Laura.
I think I gotta disagree with you on that. Canelo definitely is cutting the ring off a lot.
No. Canelo
we need to stay on Crawford. We need to stay on Crawford Porter.
The point I'm making is he learned, because Canelo wasn't fighting those type of fights. He couldn't touch Laura, and he learned. That's what the Billy Joe. Canelo learned at that time. He started to gain. He can now, but at that time he couldn't. So it's like I said, it's attributes. We can't sit there and say, how can Angulo knock Laura down 2 or 3 times, and then when Laura fight Canelo, he barely gets touched. When we feel like Canelo's the better fighter, it's styles and attributes we have to pay attention to. So,
but Sean Porter don't pack that punch, man. He ain't gonna pour a blood off of him.
That's my thing. He don't pack that punch, but he's rough. He throws elbows, heads.
Terrence Crawford rough.
No, I get that, but that's my thing. If Crawford fights the fight for fight toe to toe with Porter, who can withstand punches, guys, we got to understand it's gonna be. He can be deceived. Let me put it like this: Sean Porter can deceive judges by his work rate.
They can kind of get.
But it got to go to the cars first, man. It ain't going to the car.
No, but that's my thing. If it does, what is going to be the expectation? Let's say if it goes the distance, are we hyping Crawford up to the point if he goes the distance with Porter, he's not who we thought he was? We have to be real careful when we say these things. So so that's when we have to be careful, because I've been through it with the Keith Thurman was supposed to knock Sean Porter out. I've been through it with the Danny Garcia was supposed to knock Sean Porter out. I've been through it when Earl Spence was supposed to stop him. Kenny supposed to throw on the rope. And a lot of people can just say what they want on social media because they ain't their credibility don't get tested.
Let me tell you something what you said earlier though about Errol Spence on work. By Errol Spence on the mission, he wasn't taking boxing serious back then. He was blowing up and waiting between fights. Bud Crawford don't do that. Errol Spence is as talented as he is, and a tremendous talent that he is to the sport of boxing. I don't think he has the same toolbox as Bud Crawford. Bud Crawford got too many tools, the punch selection, the pinpoint accuracy. I think he's faster. I think he has better lateral movement. I think he's better than Spence. I'm sorry.
I do too. I actually think, my personal opinion, I think Crawford and Keith Thurman will give not Crawford, Porter and Keith Thurman style-wise will give Crawford more problems than any of the other ones. That's always been my take. I've been in this sport for a long time. That's always been my take. I think those two guys will give him a more of some adversity that he will probably have to face. But even
Spence, you said Crawford and Thurman would give Spence.
No, I say Porter and Keith Thurman will give Crawford more of a challenge, in my opinion.
No. Don't say that, Ohio Run Boxing. I'm gonna make me look at you funny in the light, baby. Keith Thurman can't take no body shots.
Okay.
He can't go in there with Bud Crawford, can't take no body shots. Keith Thurman blows up in between weights, between fights.
Are you
He's
focusing
looking
on
like DJ Academic? You see his cheeks? His cheeks look like Malcolm Jamal Warner, man.
Did you have
enough.
Did you have Earl Spence stopping Porter?
No. I definitely had him win because Errol Spence ain't been stopping nobody. That's why he ain't been stopping people. When the last time he stopped somebody? Ocampos?
I mean, even if he did, though, style-wise, that doesn't mean he's going to stop Porter. That's the point I'm getting at. We see one thing, we don't give guys credit for being able to take punishment and still go through. When Danny Garcia got hit by Lucas Matisse and that mouthpiece went out, I was convinced no one was stopping that man at 140, even at 147. Same thing with Triple G. I don't care what nobody said. I was winning money off guys saying they go get stoppage or not. This is easy for me. When Triple G got hit by Curtis Stevenson, he can crack. I said no one's stopping Triple G. Maybe towards the last of his career when he's really done, but no one's stopping. I don't care if you're emotional or not. You're not stopping these guys who have.
Well, he ain't fighting nobody no more either. So
no, but the point is, people were saying Charlo would stop him. I disagree. Like
that fight ain't happening.
They haven't fought, you know?
No, but that fight is not happening.
I get it, but I've been winning money off what I see. I don't get emotional and make these some guys.
No, see, but that's the thing. You keep saying you keep saying people need to do this. You keep saying people need to do that. And you need some of not getting emotional. Like I can give like two shits if fucking Crawford ends up getting knocked out by Sean Porter. You know what I'm saying? Like
that's not gonna happen though.
Like no, but dude, see, there you go. Let me finish. Because basically what I'm saying is I don't care what the result is. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna watch the fight, but the result at the end of the day ain't gonna change nothing in my motherfucking world. People are just giving their opinions, and people should just be allowed to have their opinions and not being criticized for it. Like true.
I think, but it's also, you're right. People should be allowed. But then, like you said, you got those who just say whatever, don't even support the sport at all. You got to watch for those because I actually heard, I think Scotty was saying, people were saying Sean Porter, they got Sean Porter stopping Crawford. And everybody that I didn't seen say that are Earl Spence fans. Everybody I've seen say that are Earl Spence fans.
And let them do them. Let them do them.
No, I get it.
But they ain't bet no money on it though, bro. I bet you they ain't bet no money.
I don't know if they bet money or not. What I'm saying is just let them do them. Like it's not going to do anything. If you've been getting all these things right and stuff like that, that's good for you and stuff like that. But it's just people's opinions. You know what I'm saying? That's all it is.
Just comment off right quick with Stormy B. He said Bud is a 5-dimensional fighter. Those are the titles at 147 or not. What makes the 5 dimensions for him? The tools, movement, IQ, ability to switch, and lastly, his mentality. What y'all think about that?
Oh, Stormy B-Mail knows his boxing. And I'm proud of him for not getting his judgment clouded by the noise and getting caught up in all the noise. Because a lot of times guys, they just want to ride with their guys so hard. And I get it. Ride with your guy. Don't never ride no dick, man. Tell the truth.
Facts.
Tell the truth. Because when the fight is over, they're gonna have to go back in that video and do one or two things: do a retraction, or live and die on that hill, and then start making excuses. Well, Porter is a shot fighter anyway. He got 3 losses, but y'all just say he'll top welterweight,
and he can take punishment.
Yeah, so, like they're gonna switch it up. They ain't gonna do no retraction.
Hold on, reverse. What we mean by shot fighter when you take 3 losses? Is it how you lose or just because you got 3 losses? Because Uga's got 4, and now they thought him as one of the top 3. So what do you mean by shot fighter? Is it? I'm trying to understand that one.
Well, they just give.
I don't believe that. I'm just telling you. You're gonna have to make excuses to live by those words that you said, just to discredit one fighter. I don't think you have to discredit another guy to big up your favorite fighter. And if you're a fan, say you're a fan and say, I'm going to ride with my guy. But look, I'm going to ride with my guy whether he win or lose. I ain't like Don King where I'm going to leave with the winner every time. No. I'm going to still support my guy, and I'm going to say why he lost.
And I respect that. Like I said, I've been riding with Porter And Crawford for the longest. I've been defending Crawford for the longest when a lot of people was speaking their opinion, saying what they was. I actually thought he was a Hall of Famer before he actually got this fight. That's just I've been getting cussed out about that. But you
I mean, it's the
right.
truth. He don't need Errol Spence to define his career. Errol Spence might feel butthurt about it, but Terrence Crawford told him straight up he don't need Errol Spence to define his career. He already did it. It don't matter what they say about his resume at 147. It took Errol Spence, ever in the day from to the side for super welterweight to welterweight on which damn division he was going to fight at. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes down to this fight with Sean Porter, I believe wholeheartedly that Terrence Crawford's ring IQ exceeds that of Sean Porter. I do.
I agree.
I feel that his ring IQ is better than Sean Porter's.
And another thing, to capitalize what you just said too, Sean Porter punches is not as sharp as Crawford, so I can see a lot of punches coming down. If Porter goes the distance, well, I think he will, it would come down to Crawford landing the more cleaner shots. I mean, it's going to be simple.
And that's my whole process right there.
He's going to be the one that's going to be landing the more cleaner shots. I have yet to see Sean outland somebody with cleaner shots. I've seen him outwork them, but just with the more cleaner shots, no, I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that. So like he was saying, you got to take people. It's okay to ride with your guy, but trust me, I got a fan base too, and we got Ohioans that's worshipers where they just don't give a damn. Porter is stopping them, and I'm like, y'all damn mind. I gotta go against
just to say that Porter's gonna stop somebody. I mean, just look at his fights. Did he stop Daniel? Did he stop Errol Spence? Did he stop Keith Chapman? Did he stop Kell Brook? Did he stop Sebastian Famella? Did he stop Yadinas Lucas? I don't know why they would be saying that shit.
That's what I said. I have to take a stand on that. I have to I'll be going at it with my guys. Like,
and I fucked with Cincy fighters, man. They came down to ATL and tore our amateurs up for real.
They did that a couple places, man. We actually had one. It was kind of crazy. We had one from a kid out of Las Vegas. I can't even remember his name, but he fought in Lauren not too long ago in Ohio. And Cali was deep. I'm trying to tell you, Scotty, they was deep down here. No amateur beat, and they was roaring. Okay, the dude won in the main event. They put him in the main event, and it was funny. I mean, the dudes was roaring. It was crazy. We actually had more winners.
Mr. White, let me ask you something, sir. Do you see? What if you was in the gym helping them with the game plan? What would you tell Sean Porter? Like, what would be his keys to victory to beat Bud Crawford?
At this stage in his career,
I mean, that's when we fight. We ain't fighting 3 years ago. We fighting in November.
At this stage in his career, what I tell somebody who's been a champion, first of all, unified champion. He's been at the top of the championship pinnacle.
Sean was never unified. Sean wasn't a unified champ.
No, he won. He won 2 times. Yeah, it was 2 times. Okay,
2 times. I kind of combined the multi-time, but he was a 2-time champ, right? So I look at it like this. You will have to sit up here and have Sean Porter, first of all, in a pretty decent fight camp where you see what Deontay Wilder has going on with Malik Scott. They're working on fundamentals, right? Sean Porter's skill set doesn't lack the process of him being able to go in there and fight. But I will have to teach him how to go in there and box. I don't need him to go in there and fight because he knows how to fight. I will have to do the fundamentals and have him work on doubling up on the jab, keeping distance, some of the same stuff he did with Julius Diaz and freaking Danny Garcia. Pop the jab out there. Stay consistent with the stick. You know what I'm saying? Keep your distance. Don't be afraid to be in front of Crawford popping that jab out there. I mean, he would have to learn some of the basic fundamentals, remediate that shit, and use, head movement to get inside. You just can't keep on coming in through the front window and expect not to get cut.
Yep. I think Terrence Crawford, that he got a mean check hook too when you come in.
Yeah,
he did that with Jeff Horn. It was just nasty every time Jeff Horn was coming in. But I think if I was Kenny Porter, the team, look at the footage with David Benavidez, and realize why it took Crawford 12 rounds to actually get him out of there. David Benavidez, even with a bum leg, people put that up there. I don't even care about that. It was the fact that he stood his ground and he was a great counter puncher, and he made Crawford respect it. He
had decent power too.
Yeah. So he made
and he was longer. He had a longer reach. Than
no, absolutely.
Porter don't have the reach advantage as Benavidez, so he can't do what Benavidez did.
Absolutely, he can't. But he has to try to find a way where he can make him pay for coming in. Make Crawford pay for his aggression coming in. So he has to learn how to counter those aggression shots where Crawford wants to come in off his jab. You know what I mean? Because Crawford is definitely going to be trying to come in and trying to make a statement. He is.
I don't think he's gonna brawl early on with Sean Porter. In my opinion, I don't think he's gonna. He doesn't have to do it. If Porter is the one that really, in my opinion, needs to establish with Terrence Crawford, and Porter is gonna go in there and act like, okay, let me get on in the inside with Terrence Crawford quickly and establish my dominance. In the process of doing that, Crawford's going to make him pay with that counter uppercut. Especially, he's probably going to be fighting Sean Porter in southpaw stance early. So he's going to give him that check hook, pivot out, reset, have Sean Porter chasing him, and it's going to go from there.
I can definitely see that. I can definitely see that happening. I definitely can see that happening.
And Crawford ain't weak either. He's just as strong as Sean Porter.
Yeah.
But I disagree with you saying where you got a box. I don't know if we got enough time between now and November to do that with him. I think Sean Porter got to fight his fight, and boxing Bud Crawford is going to get him chopped up. But Bud is just going to pick him off from the outside. He got to do something to keep Bud honest. He going to have to hurt him. I think he got to fight. I don't think he's going to be.
He can still pick and choose though in between shots. You don't have to all.
What you say, Scott? I'm sorry, Ohio. What you say first, Scotty?
What?
You say he's something, Mark.
Honest can be with the jab. I mean, just look at Mike Tyson close distance. Mike Tyson used head movement to get in with the jab. You know what I'm saying? I mean, to get in closer, even to land his power shots. Fundamentals is, Sean Porter will have to find a way to close distance and use his head movement and stick that jab to the body and set up the head. You know what I'm saying? Go to the body first because Bud's been hurt to the body before, and then try to, go up top with it, but stay consistent with the jab. You just can't come in with power shots on Bud.
No. I think flipping the jab too. That's part of countering. Slipping his jab like he did Earl Spence. When you go back and watch the Earl Spence fight, Earl was coming forward, but when he was trying to establish the jab on Sean was able to slip it, get up under there, and short as he is, work. So it's going to be timing where he has to time Crawford with that jab as well, where he's going to be able to slip and get inside. So that's going to be that's a tool that I know Barry, I don't know if Barry going to be in the camp with Kenny, but that's a tool that they worked on with the Earl Spence. He's able to slip. So it's kind of hard to really box Sean sometimes too, when you got a guy who can cut the ring off and know how to slip your jabs.
And that's the good thing about Sean.
Lost that fight. Still lost though.
No, I get what you're saying. Yeah. He still lost. Come on, guys, we get it. But even that was still a close fight. It was still a close fight, and it was still in a good game plan because we thought.
I get you. That knockdown changed the fight though, and Sean fell short with that knockdown. Without that knockdown, could have been different. He dominated Broner, but Broner was still able to drop him in the 12th round.
I still don't think he wins. That's part of the politics. Even though it was close, I still don't think he would have won, even if he went 12. I knew that going in.
Well, according to the scorecards,
you think it went to a draw, basically.
Because that's the Earl is the money. Crawford spawn is not a draw. So we already been seeing these last couple months, but these outrageous scorecards and these corruptions with these WBCs and WBAs, we don't have to go there. We see it. So I wasn't gonna be too outraged. I knew that's what was happening going in. Sean has never been in a fight where he just completely dominated another elite fighter, guys. He's always been in fights, even with Adrian Granados. He won, but it was like he back and forth.
I mean, they were just brawling in there, though. That's right. Adrian Granado's style, man.
Right. So
his last dominant fight was probably Paulie Malignaggi. He straight dominated Paulie.
And Devin. You can say Devin too.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I don't see that. I'm a realist when it comes to me over here, man, saying that stuff. It's gonna be really, really uphill battle for Crawford. For Porter to retain this beast, man, because Crawford is the real deal, and you got a lot of people who just don't like him and just looking for anything to discredit him. That's part of the game, but not me. I didn't already talk to Bernie, Bomac, had good conversations with those guys, man. They know it's love over here.
Hey, Mark, I want to get back to you asked me, what would I teach? If I had the opportunity to teach Sean Porter. If it's not fundamentals, then what does he need to be taught? Defense?
I told you I don't see no way for Sean Porter to win this, whether boxing or fighting. I think boxing, he's going to get picked off. Just straight fighting, he's going to get chopped up coming in. He's going to get, because he leads with his head. So you asking him
what would I teach him? I'm just curious to know.
Like what would be his game plan? What would be a game plan for you to because most of us, if I'm not mistaken, I think everybody on this panel said they see Bud winning. But I just wanted to switch it for a second. What could Sean Porter do to win? Because I don't see nothing. I don't see no tactical advantage going his way other than Bud twisting his ankle coming into the ring. Maybe he gets a headbutt. Sean headbutt some early or something.
Catch COVID in the second round.
So what?
Catch COVID in the second round.
You crazy.
Yeah, I just don't see it. I like Sean Porter, and I hate that they always put Sean Porter in here to be the litmus test for these guys. But if he's for it and they paying him good money, who am I to say anything? But I just don't see it, man. I just don't see it.
I just always look at the sweet signs, always having a way, especially with an experienced fighter like Sean Porter. There's always a way to make a fight more difficult for who you going in there and contending against.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? I just never say it's no way.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's gonna have to be with what we already know about Sean, but he's gonna have to apply his aggressiveness. But he's going to have to do something different once he's able to get in close on Terrence Crawford. Like, what different can he go? Go to the body first? Because Sean Porter can headhunt now. He can be a headhunter. But what is he to do against Terrence Crawford?
But you gotta also think about it this too, and a lot of people don't think about it. The crowd can play a big factor. If Sean is in there throwing punches that's not really landing and the people are roaring, will it take Crawford out of his game plan where he has to go out there and try to brawl with him? People keep forgetting that Crawford gets undisciplined sometimes. There is no reason for him to get hit with that shot with Gamboa. And no, that doesn't mean he doesn't have a chin. I used to hear that too. People say he doesn't have a chin. He's chinny. You can't compare him to Amir Khan, AJ, Dylan. Like, no, most of the guys, when he got clipped by Gamboa was different. And when he got hit by Green Machine, whatever his name, Kovalskis, I respected Kovalskis. I said the boy can punch. So it was a little clip, and he has a good recovery rate that people fail to mention. He recovers right back and pursues. So it's not you can't say that man doesn't have a chin. I hear people say that too, which is crazy. But the point I'm making is if Sean can roar and start a fight and take him out mentally and bait him into a type of fight that he really don't want, and he probably will want because he's a dog. You got two dogs in there, man. So I can never sit there and say Crawford ain't gonna want that because he did with Kovalskis, and I thought that was an impressive stoppage because he actually fought the way Kovalskis wanted him to fight, and Crawford stopped the man. So I was impressed with that. A lot of people wasn't because they didn't know who Kovalskis was, but I knew who he was. I seen him. Silver medalist in the Olympics.
Yeah, like, he got stopped by Virgil.
I can tell people about him. So, but other people who don't know, they look at him as somebody who's a bum, and he wasn't nobody. So that's the opinions you have to deal with certain people, man.
I just see this. I just look at it like, boxing has definitely evolved past Sean Porter's skill set and what he's neglected to learn moving forward. And I'm not saying he's content with where he's at in boxing, but for him to be able to fight for the WBC vacant against Danny Garcia, I think that was a pretty easy fight compared to what we expected from Danny Garcia. We expected more from Danny Garcia. It just didn't happen. But with Bud Crawford, I feel that he has faster hands than Errol Spence. I feel that he's a much more dangerous fighter than Errol Spence. And he's not going to give Sean Porter what Errol Spence did. Errol Spence gave Sean Porter what he wanted, that attention, standing right there, right in front of him and fighting that fight. I just don't think Terrence Crawford is going to do that, man.
I mean, Sean Porter. I mean, he does have a bit of a deep. He does have the ability to make people miss. I mean, but it's just that he can't allow those big clean shots to land because of the judges. You know what I'm saying? And he gets hit quite a few of those in fights. And like I said, he work on that defense. Especially getting them hands back up after he's throwing shots or between shots, and then work on that tempo. I think he'll fare well in the fight, and I think the fight, no matter what, is going to go to a decision. I don't think anybody's going to get knocked out. I mean, we can go down the list. I mean, we could look at Sean Porter's record. I mean, he's been knocked down quite a few times. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. We're gonna find out soon, though.
Brother, what's your name right here above me? What's your name?
My name is Mike.
Mike. Has Sean Porter ever faced a guy like Terrence Crawford, though?
That's the thing. It doesn't matter. Does it matter?
I think it definitely matters because you say you don't see nothing like that happening. If Sean Porter gets dropped by Bud Crawford's one of the best closers in the business, other than I say Deontay Wilder, or he up there with Wilder, Tank Davis with me.
Okay, that's nice. But if you look at the history of who he fought, I mean, were they all at 147? Were they at another weight class? Then who were those guys?
I mean, it's been going on since 2016.
And I said, who were those guys? A lot of them.
These are undefeated guys. Some of these guys were champions.
I mean, I don't care who was undefeated. I'm going by. I said they records. Like, what have they done? I mean, if you look at a lot of these weight classes, there's a lot of champions that shouldn't be champions.
Facts.
But it's not more about what they did. It's about what Bud Crawford did. If get in there, he get him out of there. This guy
who were they? Who were these guys that got rid of?
He got Horn out of there, who went life and death with Manny Pacquiao.
And I mean, it was to me that fight was a pretty close fight. I mean, and you said it wasn't, but
it wasn't. He stopped Jeff Horn. Jeff Horn did nothing against Crawford. Nothing.
Oh yeah,
okay. I think
that wasn't no close fight against Horn, bro.
Yeah, okay.
I think you're overlooking Sean Porter's knockdowns too. You saying if Crawford hits him, is Crawford gonna hurt him if he falls down? See, that's where y'all missing. Porter has been hit. He got hit by Earl Spence with a solid ass shot. I mean, his neck looked like it broke. Come on, guys. And all he was upset was that his glove hit the ground. And then we go back.
That was also in the championship rounds too.
No, right. And then we also got to go back to the Broner shot. When I hear these knockdowns, they clip shots. He hit him with a good shot over the top. When he gets up, he looks at his father like, good shit. He wasn't wobbling and all. I don't get that with certain people. Like, are y'all watching these fights? We can't call every knockdown a literally hurt knockdown because these guys ain't. His recovery rate is amazing. Like, he's not really buzz like guys who get hit and really hurt. You can't compare them. Amir Khan gets hurt, he gets up, he has to hold on. We didn't see Sean do that with Earl or Broner. We didn't see it. We didn't see it at all. So when we say Sean Crawford is different, but is Crawford going to try to go in for the kill because he knows Porter might still have a dog in him. He still might have to fight this man's fight. So Crawford is a lot smarter than that. So I don't know. I just don't know. It's going to be an interesting fight, man. It's definitely be a fight that I think it's going to go. I think it's going to go the distance. I actually think it's going to be controversial from some people because of Sean Porter's work rate in this fight. I think Sean Porter is going to make it a real interesting fight, but it's going to be the hardcores that really have to break it down to the casuals that Crawford won the fight. It's going to be one of those, and it might be a rematch.
I just don't. My whole thing is that, for Sean Porter to be where he's at with the tools, with the limited tools that we see that he possesses, I mean, we got to give him credit for his boxing ability. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you don't want to, that's yours, but I'm giving him credit. How about that? Let me rephrase that. I'm giving him credit for his boxing ability because he's able to make people miss. You know what I'm saying? He's able to counter people. He gets hit, you know what I'm saying, with big shots here and there. That's because of, the lack of his tools. Mm-hmm. But he's still able to do things with these guys in the ring. It's not like he's getting up in there and he's not getting his his time to shine in these fights. It's not like the whole fight, like he's not, you know, giving people some nice clean shots and stuff like that and backing them up off of them. You know what I'm saying? But it's just the lack of the tools, punching power, his defense abilities, punch placement. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we got to get a man his props. That's why I think the fight is going to go to the distance. I mean, you know, it's rare when you see you have a guy that got a chin like this guy coming around. It keeps coming forward like the Energizer battery. And even though he gets knocked down, he still doesn't waver.
Yep.
I think his time is now for Sean Porter to get stopped.
Well, that could be so.
Yep.
That could be very well could be so. I mean, he's been taking a beating. You know, he's been taking a lot of beatings, but he's been taking a lot of big shots.
I'm not, and that I agree with you, Mike, on that. He's been taking a lot of big shots, right? And then the fact that, you know, he was in a very entertaining fight with Errol Spence. Man, it could be fight of the year. I loved it. You know, the fact that he's in the championship round and he gets hit with Errol Spence with a left hook and gets dropped slightly. I don't care about the recovery. It's just the point that it happened. You're in the championship rounds. It's just the fact that it happened from a fighter that's not a one-quitter hitter. Errol Spence, he didn't do that to Danny Garcia. He didn't do it to Mikey Garcia. He didn't.
But Danny got a chin. You can't compare it. Danny has a chin where he hasn't really been hurt like that. So you can't.
Then we say Sean Porter has a chin?
Absolutely.
Well, they didn't allow it to happen to them. Did Danny Garcia go down in the fight?
Oh,
did Mikey Garcia go in the fight? Nope.
So what you're saying is, even though he's been down, which y'all bank on, he's gonna get, once he gets down against Crawford's going to stop him. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying that at all. I just feel like
point.
Crawford.
Yeah.
I just feel like Crawford's punishment is gonna weigh heavier on Sean Porter than, i.e., Errol Spence or anybody else he's been in the ring. I just believe that Crawford's mentality to close down on a fight is going to be much more detrimental than Errol Spence. But look at what happened in that fight. Once Sean Porter got up, he was like, come on, Errol Spence. Errol Spence didn't do nothing dramatic after he hurt Porter, and Porter didn't do nothing dramatic. They were just holding, turning each other out. That was it.
That agree with my point. It wasn't like he was hurt because he couldn't finish him. I think when you are go back to what Jamal Charlo last fight when he fought what's his name, Monty. What is the Mexican that Jamal Charlo fought?
Luis Aries. Was it
Luis Aries? Not Jamal. Is it Jamel or Jamal? It was a Mexican.
Jamal fought Moran, not Moran.
Monty something.
Montiel.
Yeah. Montiel. Yeah.
Awkward style was not better than Jamal by far. Jamal hitting this dude with everything, the kitchen sink, and this dude coming in, and he actually was still hitting Jamal, which made it an interesting fight. Like, people was on their seat, jumping up and down watching this, but Jamal still won. Get what I'm saying?
But Jamal hasn't been on the canvas yet, has he?
Huh?
Has Jamal been on the canvas?
Talking about no, he hasn't, but I'm talking about the awkwardness style with Sean that he's going to bring. It's not even, it's just difficult sometimes. Like, it's difficult. It's a
brother
thing.
What we can't forget though, Jamal, just like Errol Spence, blows up in between weights. These guys often, they drink. We know that. But Crawford lives that clean boxing lifestyle. So where these guys can't dig a little deeper because that liver got a little Hennessy floating up in it, but that's Crawford can be able to dig a little deeper, man. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. And Porter does the same thing. That's why I love this fight too. They both guys that do that. That can do that.
Salubrity. They have healthy lifestyles outside the ring.
And that's good. So when you bring up the Errol Spence, like hurt him or dropped him, whatever, in his recovery time, that's going to be the difference between him and Bud Crawford. Because where Errol couldn't dig deep by his own admission, he wasn't taking boxing that seriously. He was blowing up in weight. Those are his words, not mine.
But we can't always say that Mike Tyson knocked out 10 guys straight and he was drinking and snorting cocaine, guys.
I'm just going by what
do that with everything,
brother. I'm saying his words. He said he couldn't pull the trigger. That's his
word. Ray Leonard too.
He was coming down from one.
My brother, that's what you saying. I ain't talking about Mike Tyson. I'm talking about Errol Spence and his words. Why that fight went the way? Why it went that way with Mikey?
And
I'm telling you.
they
Well,
brought
he
his,
also
they
said he didn't
said
have the strength
Blu-ray.
and conditioning coach.
They
Coach.
said Blu-ray, which we never
Yeah,
heard that in the history of boxing.
I didn't hear.
A strength and conditioner was the reason you don't get knockouts. I have never heard
No,
that in the history of
no.
boxing.
He said that's the reason. That's the reason why he didn't have that much stamina in that fight. He thought he had enough stamina, but he didn't.
But a lot of guys were
I
saying
remember
that he was
watching it. He
knocked
said
out.
nothing about no damn partying and drinking. He said he said it was he said he needed Blu-ray in there before the strength and conditioning. And he thought he had it in the fight, and you can see that he kind of got tired in that fight.
Well, Earl Spence fans actually was talking about Blu-ray being 11 knockouts, 11 fights, 11 knockouts. They was promoting that, and that was the first time I ever seen that from a strength and conditioning.
Well, they was promoting that, like, but you know, you can hear it from the guy's mouth. I mean, people can say whatever they want to, but you know, the facts of the main is what Earl Spence said about not having Blu-ray in his corner for that fight.
But even if he had Blu-ray against Danny, that doesn't mean he knocks him out. I mean, what are we saying?
Yeah. I mean, but if
What are we
people want to
saying?
push that narrative, they can. But I'm telling you the fact that because you're talking about the livers, the kidneys, and all that stuff, but you know, I just think that those are just to me those you know those are is what it is, but those are just nitpicks. I mean,
Yeah,
a lot of fighters out there drink, a lot of fighters out there smoke weed, a lot of
facts.
fighters out there smoke cigarettes, but it's what you do in the gym that's what's gonna get you there. And I'm pretty sure when they're in training and stuff like that, you might see them in the club and stuff like that. But a lot of them, I don't see drinks in their hand.
And Broner's the main one, and nobody ain't stopped him. he the main one, and fight some of the best.
He just don't let his hands go.
You know?
Yeah, but yo, these guys at that top level, you can avoid not getting knocked out, bro. That's what Broner doing. That's why he didn't let his hands go. Because when you're throwing punches, you're gonna leave yourself open. Let's be clear. That's why Broner ain't getting knocked out. He knows how to survive. And
he got a good body because you ain't got to throw punches, but you can still get dog walked in and walk through where you're getting hit into the body and give up too. Because Triple G made sure when Kell Brook moved up, he sent the message. Canelo made sure Khan, Lomachenko, Guillermo Rigondeaux, Bernard Hawkins, De La Hoya, when you move up, you're supposed to show them, I don't care how great they are, they can still be stopped when they fighting the bigger guys. That's history has shown that.
Yeah, and with Adrian Broner not letting his hands go, what we was just saying, somebody's telling him he's winning these fights, doing these rounds. I mean, somebody is. Somebody ain't telling that brother the truth because, you know, let's keep it real. Like, I saw him losing fights, and I'm just like yelling at the thing, like, man, hey, bro, might want to let these hands go because I don't know who telling you winning these rounds, but it ain't happening.
I think they're not telling him he losing them.
Hey, there you go. That's the better way to put it. Yeah.
I mean, I remember the fights. I mean, I'm cool with him, you know. I'm cool with his boy, you know what I'm saying? Because I go up to Cincinnati every now and then to Michael Stafford, you know. So I don't think they really telling him like, yeah, you losing this, you know. I think it's more so like, how you feeling? How you feel? You need to get more busier. You know, I mean, I don't know, man. I'm just looking at this fight with Sean Porter. It's gonna be his biggest test to date against Crawford. You know, it's good. It's a good fight for both fighters. It's good for both fighters. Period.
I think Crawford beats. I don't see Crawford losing to a lot of people at 147. Enos now is coming up. You know what I'm saying? I heard he moving up to 154 for him. I don't even know how true that is, but
who?
Enos.
Oh, your Boots?
Yeah, Jerron. I heard they
he did enough at 47. He gonna move to 54 already.
That's what I'm hearing.
I think Ennis is definitely gonna pick up a title before we move up to 54.
He should.
If it be the WBA regular, I don't know. The guy said, you know, the president said he was gonna do away with those regular titles only in certain divisions. I'm hearing now. So yeah, I think he's gonna pick up world champion, and then he's gonna move up to 54, which would be good.
I mean, somebody got to do it. I mean, I won't be mad at him, but you know, I just think that there's a lot of time that has been wasted, man, for some of these fighters, and it's probably, you know, sometimes it's just not their fault, man. But damn, you know, Some of
Did
these
y'all,
fights should have been happened.
let me ask you this on the panel. I always wanted to talk about that Jamel Charlo fight and Brian Castano. You know, we was hoping, especially for Jamel Charlo, him being a black fighter and everything, I was really hoping he was able to, you know, to get the undisputed, right? But did y'all have any less respect for him, being that he didn't have a sense of urgency to call out Brian Castano for a rematch? You know what I'm saying? It's almost like you saw the memes that's out there. You know what I'm saying? When the question was asked about a rematch with Brian Castano, do you think did you lose a little bit of respect for the lines only and this dog and Jamel Charlo and all that, not to immediately want to have a rematch with Brian Castano?
You want me to go first on it? I mean, it can go.
It don't matter to anybody, because in my opinion, I did.
I didn't. I respected it. Because I've been in the situation where I've been in a street fight, Scotty, with this guy. I'll never forget him. He's in prison now for homicide, double homicide. I had a street fight with this guy, man. We fought one time. I beat him convincingly, and he wanted a rematch. And I said, all right, I'm gonna give it to you again. We fought, and that bad boy, I'm telling you, he was working with me. I almost thought I felt like I won the second one, but I didn't want to fight him again. I'm gonna put it like that. And he wanted a third time. I've never faced nobody like that in my life that wanted to smoke, that will for will. And when it came to this street fight, really throwing it, mentally, I understood when Jamel was not eager to fight Brian Castano in a rematch, because he went with somebody he had hit with everything, and he kept coming. And I actually made a meme about this with the Brian Castano and Jamal fight when I used the Rocky clip. When,
I saw it. Yeah, I saw it.
And he said, we don't want those problems. You won the first one. You know, he said that man is all wrong for us. This is what the matchmakers be saying. This is what they be talking about in the back. That man, I think Jamal would definitely fight him, but if he don't have to fight him, he wouldn't go that way. And Sean Porter is similar. There were times that a lot of people wasn't even trying to fight Sean at that time. Sean's style was just sometimes all wrong for you to try to look good against. You know what I mean? So you got to, I don't think I looked at him as a certain way. I respected it from my perspective. I understood when you fighting a dog like that. But if you want to go back in there, cool. But if you don't, we can wait 2 or 3 fights or another fight, and you handle your mandatory, then we can come back. And I guarantee you Jamal will be having his fingers crossed, hoping that man lose. I just know the mindset, man. That's my take on it. I know the mindset.
Anybody else want to talk on it? Because
No, I mean,
Jamel Charlo, shit.
I mean, you know, I'm just kind of like, if you could find a better fight, then you know, go and do your thing. I mean, I wouldn't get held up for that, but hold my you know career if I could finally you know get a better fight than that. But you ain't got nothing going on. I mean, I don't want to hear about like no lesser opponents than that you fighting. You know what I'm saying? Because that ain't gonna make any sense.
Fact.
I mean,
That's
you want to,
legacy though, Mike. That fight's legacy, undisputed legacy.
I mean, but yeah, it could be for undisputed. But people, you know, these boxers, you know, they funny. Like sometimes, you know, if something come across the table, they jump on it. You know what I'm saying? For a chunk of change.
You also got to think about it too. Brian Castano wasn't as known, and that was another guy with a belt. And most of our unifications or our undisputeds has come against guys that's not really known. So you know, when you got what's the name, Rosario, wasn't really known. They just looked at Jamel like, hey, this is just a belt to collect, baby. This is for you. That's how we looked at it. Julius Ndongo, Crawford, undisputed. Like these were guys that had these belts that's in the division that no one knows about, and these fighters would take on them quicker than the guys we think you should be fighting. So this part of anybody you could look at that became undisputed, they won their belts against guys that really you didn't really think that highly of. Like, you know what I mean? So
In that case, if that's going to be your scenario, well, that was all right for the picking in 154 with Jason Rosario, because we all know how Jason Rosario Come on, man. We all know what that
Didn't he
was.
give? Didn't he get a talk to the Al Heyman answer
What
Who?
now?
when they asked him? Didn't he say I'm gonna talk to Al or something like that?
He said, yeah, he said he gonna talk to Al. Then they
Yeah,
showed other
you know what
clips.
that means, right? That means no comment.
A lot of those PBC fighters always. I mean, well, not all of them. Some of them always talking about they're gonna talk to Al. You know what I'm saying?
That's what it means. Scotty, it means no comment.
Yeah, it is. You're right.
It's
Because
like
don't nobody know Al Heyman except the ones who know Al Heyman.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And he damn for sure don't want to do interviews. I mean, you can't even ask the man. It's like, hey man, did you like that burger or not? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Talk to Al Heyman.
yeah. And
Hey, that was true. I think. Go ahead.
is they even trying to make the fight though? Like, is there rumors about it or?
No, they
man.
said Brian supposed to be facing his mandatory. That's what I'm hearing about. Brian supposed to get ready to face a mandatory, but
we all know undisputed trumps that shit, dog.
right. No, I get you. But I think even with Jamal, if I'm saying Jamel or Jamel, even with Jamel saying that goes to show you too that he respected him, because they show other clips of Jamel after a fight saying, "What? Give me her. Give me her." Everybody showing clips of him just saying he ain't asking for Al to get hurt. He wasn't asking for other fighters when he was calling them out after fights. That was not when he got done with Brian. You can just look at, man, go back and watch it. His body language. I pay attention to all that. He smiled. He said, "Al Heyman." He was smiling like, you know,
he was dizzy. Goddamn it, that was that dizzy smile,
bro. He was humble. Like I said, you know, respect. Like, I get it. I understood it. I'm trying to tell you, Scotty, when I seen the interview, I thought about those fights that I had, and I was just like, man, with that one guy, it was just like, whoa. Whew.
But Marcus, let me say this, bro. You know, speaking of what you just mentioned about Hurd, him just dog. Like I look back when he was dogging Hurd out when he was unified champion. He was just dogging the man out, being disrespectful. Like he had this firecracker mentality. He was just ready to explode on everybody. That was Jamel Charlo.
Yep.
That was Jamel Charlo. So you already lost to Tony Harrison, right? You already have an L on your record. I'm looking at it like this was one of your tougher fights in there with Castano. To prove to the people with all that hoopla between you and your brother Maul, all the drama y'all be going through, all the shit you be causing in boxing, to call for a immediate rematch with Castano. Don't try to say a mandatory is what Castano is focused on. No, because of undisputed unification trumps all that shit.
And you would think he wants that. You're right. That is the biggest fight. I mean, it's just that's a legacy fight right there.
Yeah, we talking about lines only, dog. Y'all say y'all lines only, man.
I got you. No, I got you. And people to feel the way they feel about him, you have every right, because that's what he preached. You got to back up what you say. And but like I said, Brian Castano is all wrong. I actually liked Crawford going up. If he couldn't get into these fights, I told people I wouldn't be surprised if Crawford would win up to 154 and challenge for that WBO. That would have been sexy to me. Yeah, that would have been sexy to me. I think that would have been a sexy fight to me for Crawford to have a common opponent with Jamel and put on the show that I thought he will be able to put on against Castano.
That'd be a tough fight for Crawford too. That'd be a tough fight stepping in there with Castano now. Now the aggression is different. I mean, come on. We talking about aggression with Porter and aggression with Castano. The whole type of delivery is different now.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. So I thought that'd have been a nice one where he could have been and made a fight. I know they talking about Josh Taylor, but he got Crawford now. He got Porter now. So what do y'all think? I know we're thinking ahead, but where do you think he goes from after Porter? Is Al going? He sound like he ain't signing with Al. So is he just gonna go his own little way where he got control now? He can beat one of the PBC fighters, and that means he don't have to fight none of them.
I truly believe that Crawford can become a 4-division champion. I truly believe it, because if he doesn't, if he never was up here singing that damn national anthem at welterweight that he wanted to be undisputed, that was Errol Spence who was saying that shit. It's just Crawford has one of the damn rings in order to make that shit complete, and it just seems like it's never going to happen. So for Terrence Crawford, he's been undisputed at junior welterweight. So if he wants to move up to 54, why not go get a 4th division? You can find a title up there.
I mean, he really don't got to sign with nobody. I mean, he's his name alone is what everybody wants. You know what I'm saying? He really ain't got to sign up with nobody. You know, he just needs somebody to have the setup that's going to set the venue up and all that stuff.
And
you
put
know,
that shit on PPV.
exactly. He don't need to sign up with Top Rank or the PBC or anybody.
Well, he got a management. Yeah, he signed to a management company. So you're right. He don't really need to sign with Al. But as far as him doing one-offs and stuff like that, because Crawford really ain't really into the business all like that. He just want to fight. That's just what type of guy he is. That's how he always been. They even asked him, "Did you want your own promotional company?" He don't care about that. Bo Mack can handle all that. I just want to fight.
And that's
why
they vilify him there, Marcus. That's why they own Crawford's neck, because he doesn't cater to the audience like that.
Mm-hmm. And that's the reason why I was trying to tell people for the longest that the dude is getting paid. He's getting paid pretty well by Top Rank. You know what I'm saying? And to not to be, doing all this advertising stuff and going around and doing all this stuff. He's been getting paid multi-million-dollars, for what, probably like the last 2-3 years since he signed up. Before he signed up, when the lawsuit popped up and all that stuff, he was already in his way in the millions. So, I don't think he's hurting for money or anything. He was acting like he is, but the dude's a millionaire. So. I just think that he's comfortable with the pay that he's getting. And he ain't gotta worry about the headache and all that shit. He ain't gotta worry about somebody trying to give him a fucked up deal. He ain't gotta worry about the his taxes and all this other shit with his own promotional companies and shit like that. Only thing he gotta do is just sign the paper and show up.
Mm-hmm.
And Top Rank been giving him multi-million-dollars. So
but he also gotta, but we gotta be honest, man. Crawford, he has to learn some type of part of the business, because like I said, you got talented guys like that get misrepresented, get misused all the time, man. We go through this all the time with certain boxers. You gotta learn. That's why I respect Al so much, because he's teaching these guys game, not just fighting and putting them in. He's teaching them how to make money on the back end and so much other things, man. Helping Sean get the commentary job. It's just a lot of things that this man do behind closed doors and showing them how to do it.
And also with Sean, how many L's he got? He's still getting the fights.
Ugas, you can get a couple fighters like that. And he's signing them. I remember I told somebody Al Heyman is that guy. You remember a couple years back? This probably was like 10 to 15 years back, when they had that guy that came out with a show. He was showing all the musician tricks. He was showing what they do. I don't know if y'all remember that, but he was showing all the tricks that these musicians do, these magic, these guys that do the magic tricks. And he was revealing what they do, and they was getting pissed because he had a blindfold over his face and was showing it. He had a little TV show, and they was pissed. And I said, that's Al Heyman. It's like, we ain't supposed to be paying these fighters that type of that money. Can it backfire sometimes? Absolutely. I've seen Rod Salka and Danny Garcia, and he getting 1.5 and almost 2 million. I'm like, really, for Rod Salka? Man, stop. So, it can have its backfires at certain times too, where fighters get spoiled and feel like they don't have to fight the best because I'm making this type of money. So it has its pros and its cons, bro.
Yeah, but hopefully, we coming up on the New Year's right around the corner. It's really not too far away as far as when it comes to boxing. So hopefully something happens, man, because there's a lot of fights. I mean, you got Clarissa Shields trying to get that Marshall fight. You got Serrano trying to get the Taylor fight. I mean, let's see what's gonna happen with the Sean Porter fight. You got the Wilder, you got the Anthony Joshua. I mean,
Teofimo.
We still got some fights left. I mean, so there's a lot of decisions gonna have to be made at the end of this year.
Cool Boy Steph and Brandon Figueroa. I know it was canceled, but that shit's still out there for the super bantamweight.
Yeah, they just did. Yeah. Man, COVID. I mean, I tell you what, I don't. Between me and a couple $2 million, man, y'all better. Hey, I'll see y'all later.
Who y'all got between Canelo and Caleb?
Ugh.
I'm going for Sweet Hands, man.
Now, listen, I love both of these guys. I'm a Canelo fan. I ain't gonna lie, I'm a Canelo fan. Even though he did some things I disagree with, I'm a Canelo guy, man. I'm a Canelo guy. I think he wins this fight, but I wouldn't be mad for an upset. It's like, so I get both. I get both ends. I like Caleb Plant. Been liking him for a long time. So, but I just think Canelo is just this is definitely a fight where he might get more respect for certain people who just don't like him.
Yeah.
It's just one of those fights, man, because they didn't threw Canelo all over the place in the mud, and some of it was deserving. I'm not even gonna lie, but yeah, I like Canelo in that fight. Now, Canelo is just he didn't master, man. One thing people say, he learned from Floyd. You know, after Floyd beat him, it's like he mastered a lot of stuff from Floyd. And I said, man, that's even a compliment because Floyd did beat a lot of guys who wasn't able to do what Canelo did after they come off a loss. You know, Floyd got a gym and had fighters fight on his. He got his own roster, and nobody's really emulating what they do or see around Floyd. So how is he fight Canelo in the ring? And Canelo mastered his style, and now he didn't but we ain't seen it with nobody else. Like that's crazy to me. You're giving him a compliment without even knowing it. A real amazing compliment.
I think we're real close to the changing of the guard. Sooner or later, we need the next big star. You know what I'm saying? Because nobody can deny Canelo is a star, but also I don't agree with him and the controversies surrounding him and his affiliation with his team when it comes to Peds. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I'm really looking forward to Sweet Hands, you know, stepping up and excelling on that night. It's gonna be difficult, but I'm just going for Sweet Hands. I'm not sure if he can pull it out. I'm not certain, but I am going for Sweet Hands in that fight, man.
Scotty, go ahead. Go ahead. You can say next.
No. I mean, I just feel that as far as with this, I just feel that with Plant, when I look at Canelo and I see what Mayweather did with him, because we all know Mayweather ain't got to, at that time, he switched it up and he didn't have the best of punching power, but he can hit you, right? If you watch the fight, he had Canelo like looking like, what the hell do I do? You know what I'm saying? Like, and the punches weren't really that big, but they were big enough to stun his ass. You know what I'm saying? I just think that if Caleb Plant can just stun him a few times and just learn to keep him up off you, learn to make him think about what is he going to do next instead of allowing Canelo to do what he wants. You got to get Canelo off of his game plan in order for you to win. You ain't going to just get up in there and outbox the guy. You can't allow this dude to do what the hell he want to do with you. You know what I'm saying? It's a hard feat for 3 minutes, for 12 rounds and stuff like that. But you gotta win some of this shit in these rounds, man, in order to beat this guy. You can't just allow this guy to sit up over here and counter your ass all night long. I think that's what's gonna happen.
Cave got to make it a little ugly because I don't like this the him coming out trying to box and letting Canelo. I don't like that. I think he should be the aggressor when he first come out. You know what I mean? You can't show this man no type of respect. That's how Madonna got the rematch with Floyd. Floyd was the man. Floyd was everything. But he didn't beat Floyd. He just made it look like it was actually a fight. And that's why he got the rematch. You don't show these guys too much respect, and a lot of these guys come in, they nervous as hell, and before you know it, you down 4 rounds until you really try to start picking it up. But you done gave this man 4 rounds. An elite guy, an elite fighter, 4 rounds early. Like, you can't do that. You can't do that. You got to make your presence known early. I say that when these fill-out rounds, go out there. That's why I praise Danny Jacobs when he fought Peter Quillen. Peter Quillen really didn't want to fight Danny Jacobs. He didn't really want to fight him, but Danny capitalized at the beginning. He went and attacked that man. That man was trying to get a feel for him. Like, it's a little fill-out round. Absolutely not, my brother.
Who have we seen do that against Canelo? Go out there and attack. You're going to have some cojones hanging off your shoulders for 12 rounds to go out there with Canelo Alvarez, though, dog.
I think Kovalev did all right. But he couldn't. I don't know if he had like 3 pints of vodka in the system or whatever, but
with a line of cocaine.
Yeah, he did all right until until he ran out of energy and just forgot where the hell he was. But
I
it
still
just
say
showed.
that fight look weird. The knockout looked weird to me.
Yeah, it was like he stopped and just looked at it and just like said, just. And Canelo was like, "Hey, look, man, just hold your chin up and just let it be." You know what I'm saying? Just go on, let it be. Like, don't worry about it. We're gonna pay you.
But
And he ain't fought since.
He ain't false sense, man.
nah, I don't think it. Yeah, I can see some people. I never felt like it was just a funny or conspiracy behind that. I think he's a prize fighter. I don't think he was ready. I think he knew that, but it is who's going to turn down the money? You're a prize fighter. You know what I mean? So
No, he needed the money. He
yeah,
he
yeah.
defaulted on that lawsuit with that lady, and the judge told him he had to pay more, so he had no choice.
But that's yeah. So my thing is, you're gonna take those fights too. So some people were saying they felt like it was fixed. I didn't feel like it was fixed. I just felt like Kovalev, he didn't have when he had this revenge fight with what's his name, the other Alvarez, the other one. He didn't use a lot of power shots in there because he was winded. He was starting to get winded a lot. So he used a lot of his jabs and his 1-2s when he beat Alvarez in the rematch. I was impressed, and I felt like he was trying to do the same thing with a Canelo, but he didn't really push it. You know what I mean? So. Some of these guys just don't let their hands go, man. They gas, and it's a gas tank. He had a reputation of his gas tank too. So, you know, you can see
Yeah,
that. So that's what I've seen when it comes to that, man. But as far as the Caleb Plant and Canelo, I just like I said, I'm going to be rooting for Canelo, but I'll be lying to y'all if I tell y'all I won't be jumping up and down if Cave is really putting it together and figuring it out.
Yeah. I'm rooting straight, from start to finish for Caleb Plant to go ahead and get this victory. That's all.
yeah. I mean, if I won't be surprised if you get it, man. But he's just gonna have to show people something, man, because hey, man, that's a huge win. That's
Hey,
a huge.
do he have enough power to keep Canelo off of him? That's the question.
Yeah, but you ain't gotta have a lot. But that's the thing. You ain't gotta have a lot to keep
Hey,
him up.
Mike, do you think Andre was beneficial? Do y'all think Andre actually was able to, fine tune some shit with Caleb?
I don't know. It's good to have him in the corner. Good, mindset with Ward. He might give him put a little bit of chinks in his arm.
There's no history there, though. It's no history, dog.
Nah.
It's not like Ward fought Canelo. I mean,
right.
What is bringing Ward in there going to do? I'm just curious. Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I can't.
Hold up. Wait a minute. They down brought Ward to Canelo camp?
No, Ward is
Caleb.
Playing.
Caleb.
I mean, I think it's depending on when he showed up, man. I think it's a little bit too late. Because
Caleb Plant had Andre Ward in his camp, man.
Yeah, he should have had him there because, I don't think. But then again, it's like one of those things. It's like one of those things. It's like you can't even switch up. You can't even switch up who he is. You can only just work on what he got because it's too late in the game. You can't switch that shit up now. The only thing you can do is help this dude complement his fighting style. That's it. But really, to tell you the truth, the main thing you should be doing is trying to exploit what's Canelo's downfall. That's the only thing I'll be doing from an Andre Ward perspective. But like you said, World Combat Sports, he ain't never fought the guy. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like one of them things. Is like, what do you know about them lower weight classes, anyways?
Exactly, man. What do you know, man?
I just don't see Plant being as a lot of people saying his lateral movement is gonna be great. I don't see a lot of lateral movement for Caleb Plant sometimes, man. He's not as Aristotle Laura or Billy Joe was moving. He was a good mover, you know what I mean? So I see
he ran that uppercut.
Huh?
Yeah, Billy Joe was moving until he ran that uppercut.
Right. And
that's not nice.
Canelo to learn how to I believe he's actually starting to learn how to fight these type of guys with these styles where you stay going to the body with them. You can't hit them up top as much, man. You just go to the body. I tell these guys down here in Ohio, that's how we fight. We slick, the Midwest, we are slick. We slick fighters, man. We real slick. But, to capitalize on us, we want to, majority of us is pop shots, want a pop shot look good. But you go to that body and start working, you can take him out of his comfort zone where he has to try to come and fight you now because you up on the cards. That can definitely happen. You know what I mean? So Canelo he didn't got better at that, man. Where he goes to that body, he definitely goes to that body.
Yeah, his body shots is pretty nice. I give him that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I will give Canelo that one. I ain't even gonna front. I don't know if it's the beef or not, but it's something.
and you know the pain coming when he delivered those. You know it's that man. It's
But see, that's the bad thing about Canelo. I'm a fan of Canelo, but it's kind of hard to just praise him because there's some things I just don't agree with that he has done in the past, man. And I got to call it out. I just got to call it out. And that's the hard thing about it. But at the same time, if you just consistently and you call things out the way it is, you wouldn't have a problem with doing it. And it just is, it's unfortunate. Some of the things that man has done, the maneuvering he did, I can't overlook that. He's a good fighter. You know what I mean? But you just can't overlook some of those things. And he builds he got a lot of fan base that don't like him. And I can see why. You know what I mean? So
but you're right though. It's like I guess everybody wants to be boxing fans, but don't want to be boxing fans to the point to where they just, call the things that what they see is like, he did do it. I mean, there's no ifs ands about it that what he took. There's no ifs ands about that he asked for the franchise tag. You know what I'm saying? And all for what? You know what I'm saying?
Hey, Mike, he received the franchise. They say you have to petition for the franchise, right? Canelo received that shit, and there was nobody to petition. Nobody got the franchise belt before Canelo Alvarez.
Yeah, he's the far runner of the license to duck. That's what I call it. That's all it is.
So you can actually say he ducked up out there joint to get the franchise with him and Mauricio Suleiman planned it.
Now you know what? Now since we're going down this route, guys, I'm actually asking y'all a question. A question on here. The WBO mandated this fight with Sean Porter, and I told people even with the mandated and the order purse bid, Heyman could have withdrawn from that, and they didn't have to fight this Terrence Crawford fight. But I don't want to discredit the WBO. But do y'all think that in order for we to get these fights, these sanctioning bodies have to start mandating some of these best fights instead of just catering to these champions?
I mean, I think it's a double-edged sword because if you keep doing that to people, then people they gonna want to do business with you. But these sanctioning bodies, they're well within their rights to call for some of these guys to get up in there and negotiate for a fight. But that's the thing is like, is these two teams going to play fair with these negotiations, and are they just going to make the fight out of good faith and order, and stuff like that? And we see it with Sean Porter and Crawford. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know what happened, and I really don't care what happened, but I don't think that, things really is that serious to be sitting up over there nitpicking on what you guys want and stuff like that when you know that you ain't got no other option. For both of y'all, Sean Porter and Crawford, like who else at this point in time? Like at this point in time, who you gonna get?
But we know the WBO is quite different than what the WBC has been doing. The WBC is just letting them fighters, turn away from they're the man. They're not doing shit. Why? Because it's favoritism over there. As in, the IBF and the WBO is quite different.
The IBF would be a little bit better. But go ahead, keep going, Scotty. My bad.
Yeah. To answer Marcus' question, I believe it would be good for them to order. Yes, sir. I believe it'll absolutely be efficient for us, the fight fans, and for the fighters. Yeah, order this shit. Not like the WBC, who's just doing shit for language and they're not even enforcing the action. They just doing it for sound good. Oh, it sounds good. Then shit gonna happen.
They just took Gary Russell out the picture too.
Yeah, and I think that was kind of stupid. I don't think it was kind of stupid. I think it was. You know what I'm saying? Because don't nobody want to fight the man. So who is he supposed to fight? You know what I'm saying? Then when you go up in there and fight him, then he got to bow down. They want to bow. You know what I'm saying? They want to like you know. Okay, so why you didn't mandate him to fight nobody?
Yep.
Before you took it, why you didn't mandate one of your homies to go up in there and fight him? Oh, I would basically say it's because if you pick one of your homies to get up in there and fight him, they would have lost. So the best thing for you to do is just take the belt from him.
Hold on, did they take the belt from him? I just thought it took him.
I think so.
I thought it took the rankings from him, but not the
Yeah, they
belt.
took the rankings
I
from
think
him.
they took the rankings, man. Let me look this up. Let me see.
Yeah.
If they took the rankings from him, I'm assuming they took the belt. How you gonna have the belt and have the ranking?
You right. Well, I know the ranking. Well, you the champion.
Hey,
You shouldn't be
we're talking
ranked.
about the WBC, Mike.
Well, yeah.
They do shit all fucked up.
Hey, that makes sense. But I would
Let's
assume
see.
that, wouldn't you? Like, if you take the belt?
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. That's what I said. I can't really say it don't make sense because part of the ranking might be the belt. But I thought if you're the champion, then you got the number one ranking to fight for your belt. Like the champion doesn't have a ranking. That's what I think. Or was the ranking for Ring Magazine? It might not even be WBC.
Gary Russell's still the champ. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, that's good.
He's still the champ.
That's good because I was like, that would have been quite unfortunate.
Right.
My question is, Gary Russell, why don't he just move? Just move to another division. Just go to 130, man. It's still a lot. It's some excitement going on right now.
If I was Gary, what I would do is I would just get with a good promotional brand or adversary brand so I can get these fights and then dump their ass and move on. That's what I would do. He gonna have to use somebody because they're gonna use him to just get somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Because you're dealing with a whole. It's kind of like you going to Las Vegas, right? And you a prostitute and you ain't got no pimp, just walking around there renegade and all these pimps like, nah, you can't work here. And you don't wonder why you ain't got no clients. Wonder why you keep getting robbed. I mean, that's just the way I put it. It's like he's gonna have to do something. He's gonna bust a move.
Yeah, it's that time. It's been that time. And now you have Oscar Valped and freaking, the WBA situation going on with now I think Chris Colbert is fighting somebody. I forgot who he's fighting for the vacant WBA at 130. And then whatever going on with the IBF. And then, of course, Shamir Herring and Shakur Stevenson. So if Gary Russell want to move up to 130, it's definitely room for him to pick up another title.
Yeah. Hell, move up there and tell somebody to order some shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, put an order in on that motherfucker, man.
Yeah, go up there and be like, look, man, shit, I'm here. Y'all want to fight me? Hey, one of y'all order me to fight one of these losers up here, man. So we get these rankings popped.
Isn't if you're a champion at a lower division, you can move up and fight somebody like Gary Russell can move up and fight Oscar Valdez, can't he?
Yeah.
In the WBC, I think that is their rule.
Yeah.
But he Mexican fighter though, so Suleiman would be very hesitant to make that happen.
Right.
Well, I don't know about that. I'm gonna have to talk to my board of councils to accommodate Mr. Gary Russell.
And they doing the same thing with Sebastian Fedor. They moving him into some place like that at 154. They moving that kid. They protecting him. And
your boy up there and since he beat him.
Yeah,
Jamonte Clark beat him in my opinion.
Yeah, he did. He definitely did.
I don't know what happened to him in the last fights, but I like Jamonte Clark. I thought he fought a damn good fight against Fedor. And they matched him
up with an Ohio fighter, another Ohio fighter, Terrell Goucher. I was pissed off about it because both of them was coming off. Before Terrell fought, he was fighting Lubin, but before that he fought Austin Trout, and they called that a draw. So you had Clark with a draw and him, and then y'all just matched them two up instead of giving them the rematch or I just didn't like that. I didn't like them matching them two up, and I was like, all right. But
you have to admit, Goucher looked different than he did against freaking Erickson Lubin, though. Man, he looked different against Jamonte Clark, and he did. He definitely did. Lubin was hesitant to engage. You know what I'm saying? And then when they decided to engage, he did hurt Lubin in like the 10th round.
He got PJ Prentice Brewer, another guy that come out of the same camp as him when they was same gym in them in Cleveland. So Prentice definitely worked with him, and you can definitely see a lot of different. And they gonna be together for a minute now. So, but he was teaching Terrell how to not just fight with a high guard and trying to wait for a guy to come in, man. So he's actually making him slip and come forward. And it's impressive. So that's you caught it on the head, Scotty. He definitely did fight totally different.
Yeah, he went in there with a vengeance. When he caught Clark, I was like, damn. Like, I was up your way at the gym. I had the opportunity to see Jamonte spar up there. You know, I was a fan coming out that Sebastian Fundora, for real.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, damn, this motherfucker can box, man.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I was surprised. Terrell is not known. He can punch, but he's not known for being a puncher. Let's just be honest. He's not known for being a puncher. So I was definitely shocked to see him put that on, and it was a performance he needed. I was telling a couple guys, when you fight for Al, like I said, it's like anybody else. Some of these guys is fighting to stay side, or you gonna be on the back end. You know, Rasheed Warren wasn't televised for the last 3 or 4 fights, and then his last fight, people was like, man, he was just really sitting down on his shots.
Man, Rasheed was the baby pick. No, he wasn't the baby pick. He was full grown pick. Goddamn.
He was sitting down, man. He knew it was time to just really put on the show, man, and not really, hold back. And it was like people fight better sometimes when they feel like they not, but when they about to get released. I'll put it like that.
You might be absolutely right, because I ain't never seen Rasheed go in there and sit down and destroy opponent like that. Like, that shit was entertaining as hell too, man.
It was, because the last 3 fights that Rasheed had, people was inboxing me like, Marcus, I thought he was gonna be on television. I thought they was not putting him on TV after a loss after he lost his belt.
Oh, okay.
And, he wasn't being televised at all. And once they said, hey, we putting you on television, it kicked in. He knew what was going on.
Damn.
Yep, he capitalized on it. A lot of people don't say nothing about it, but like me, I'm just gonna put it out there. But yeah, it was. You got fighters. What's his name? Think he might be released. I don't know if he got released yet from Top Rank. What's his name? Joshua Greer. Same way.
Oh, okay.
Greer was.
I know it was talk about Joshua Greer. I'm not sure. That's one of my boys too.
Yeah, I like Greer.
Out of Chicago. I like Greer, man. He the first one to really start supporting my channel as a professional boxer. On that level, but I don't know. He has some difficult fights, man. But still, I rock with Josh. He's still young enough to get it together.
Absolutely, and people like him, if he get released, man, you get rejuvenated when you go in the office with Al Heyman. It's just a whole nother mindset. Like, this man calling me in the office to sit down, he believes in me. Oh, I'm about to work my ass off.
What about Elvis Rodriguez? Elvis Rodriguez, did he get released? They still gonna give him one more.
No, they released him. Al got it.
They did? Wow.
Al signed him.
Wow.
Yeah, like I said, if you want to get somewhere and you're good enough, at least get your foot in your name and your foot in the door. You got to get with somebody, man. I don't even know when's the last fighter besides a YouTuber was able to come out here all by himself and make something happen. You know what I'm saying? Besides, fighters is just, because I don't know, when did Wilder get signed by PBC? When did Crawford and Earl and all these guys get signed by PBC? Was it straight off rip or
no? Sometimes it's word of mouth, because I remember Crawford got signed based on Danny Garcia and Mikey. I think Mikey was telling Top Rank about him. They was talking about him, like giving buzz, like, hey man, y'all need to do something. I don't think Al listened to Danny, but they was putting in word for him. That's actually reported in the public. I think it was on a YouTube video where they was talking about, they was spitting word for him, and Timothy Bradley started vouching for him. So it was a word of mouth from other fighters, like, hey man, this guy got the goods.
Yeah, this is before he. I think that was right before, like maybe a year or two before he moved up to 147.
What, with Timothy Bradley? He probably was already.
No, because when Top Rank picked up Crawford.
Oh. Okay.
Because they didn't initially have him. He was with I could pull it up like later on, but I forgot it. It's on my phone
Yeah,
somewhere.
some other management. I know he was with some other.
Yeah,
I remember that. I remember that.
he was with them,
Mhm.
and then he got with PBC. Then I mean, not Top Rank, and I was like I think probably right before he was like undisputed or something like that. I think probably like maybe 2 or 3 fights before that or right after it.
Yeah, and here's the thing with Bob and them doing, they're starting to sign a lot of the black fighters too. Just for it's like Monopoly, they just starting to sign them, even if they ain't gonna move them or push them, they're signing them just in case PBC get a hold to some of them. It's kind of
Well,
crazy. They sitting them on the
because
shelf.
Ohio's a gold mine. I mean, Ohio's a gold mine right now. You know,
Oh,
they got
not just Ohio, but I'm just saying, just fighters in particular. They're just
Ohio got some fighters up there though, dog.
Oh yeah,
that's what I'm saying. It's like, and
I've seen them.
I mean, I seen them too. I mean,
Yeah.
I stay in Saginaw, but I got a house in Toledo, so
okay.
you know, I'm in Toledo right now.
Scotty, let me ask y'all, okay, did y'all see Montana? What you think about Montana, Scotty?
Man, I love that shit. I like how, because there were a lot of people was doubting Montana's hunger. You know what I'm saying? Like they only saw him making videos, playing around, but they weren't paying attention to his fighting. And the way he fought smart against Baranchik, oh my God. Defense. God damn it.
And he actually got hit. And when I saw him get hit with that one shot, which has happened in boxing, and his head went back and he was back and he came back.
He was in the middle of the ring too. He could have he could have hit the canvas. It was in the middle of the ring when he got touched. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. I said, oh, we good. I was good. I was right there ringside. I was like, okay, we good. Once he got hit with that shot, I said, we good. I said, cool. All right, cool. So he definitely, his status definitely went up to another level. I like Montana. I think he get the time. He's getting the recognition he's deserved now, man. So
what did that counter uppercut look like? Who did that remind you of? That counter uppercut he was throwing, that right hand.
The counter uppercut?
Yeah. It reminded me of Javante a lot.
Oh, Tank.
That uppercut. That counter uppercut.
I get what you Tank got some. Whew, man. Yeah, it did though. I see what you're saying. Yeah, it did. Definitely did. I think that I told people they trying to match him. Oh, Tank, you know, he calling out Tank and certain things. I said, man, build around Montana. Give him fights, winnable fights, put him on TV, and get the crowd behind him, man. I like it. I think he has the potential to be a superstar. He does. He has that potential.
Yeah, I missed that one.
I just didn't like him up against the ropes as much as he was, but he fought smart, man. And he surprised me. He surprised me with his foot movement, his patience, you know, his countering, you know, counter shots and everything. I mean, Baranchik was trying to knock his head out of the arena.
He was.
Yeah. I mean, I missed that fight, but I'm not a fan of fighters fighting on the ropes, man. Especially heavyweights. I'm just not a fan.
Yeah, he was using his timing and everything to elude some of those power shots. Baranchik, he knows Baranchik sits down on the goddamn. Like that dude tried to decapitate Montana, man.
Yeah, that's why I was telling people Jake Paul actually put him and Charles Conwell in position to, you know, I wish Charles would have been on the Ben Sean pay-per-view too, but they didn't. But Charles still had a nice crowd, man. I was shocked to see how early those cards was put on. Charles was the first fight, and the arena was almost stacked. I was like, really?
What? Okay.
I was shocked. I was like, and I'm gonna be honest, Scotty, white people, man. White people coming in there on time. You ain't see no black faces, bro.
Damn.
I'm looking at
stupid as hell.
And I'm talking about 16, 17. It's a lot of teams Jake Paul brought out. A lot of teams. But it was just showing that these people, when they say the doors open at 6, they're there at 6.
Damn.
But that's what I try to do. I try to get there early because I don't be trying to wait in line like that, man. Like
we hardcore too. You know what I mean? So we go definitely get there, and definitely some of us is boxing journalists, so we got to get there. But when I got there around 6:15, 6:20, and you know what I'm saying, like whoop. And like I said, I thought I was gonna just go in, and nah, man, they had, man, it was crazy. I was like to see them stacked like that early.
How long it take you to get in though?
Oh, it was no, they was moving fast. It took me about at least about I say about 7 minutes. It wasn't that long, but they was moving in. They was scanning with the little text thing, so it was cool. It was cool. I went through the front. Everything.
Shit, I went to this fight down in Toledo. Man, it took me 30 minutes to get in the damn door. I was about to turn my black ass around. It was just just a city sponsor. The city. Just the city. Who the best, the baddest in Toledo. Type of fight. But
Yeah.
I'm about to turn around. I was like, come on, bro.
That's good. I know the Huntington Center. That was cool. It really wasn't that bad getting in there.
Yeah, I used to live right across the street from it.
Okay, yeah.
I used to live in apartment buildings. Like literally, I could see the baseball field from there. But the Seagate Center is where they be having all the local fights, professional tipped off.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because I went down there from Robert Easter first fight, and then in the second pro fight, he didn't.
I was there.
He didn't do that good.
I was there.
The audience didn't. There was a lot of empty seats, and I'm like, dang, they're not gonna come back no time soon, and they didn't. They didn't. The Toledo haven't been back.
But that was actually he broke. That's what they say on the street out here, that he broke numbers. They said he was the first person to sell it out.
The first one was. It was the first one. If you talk about the first one, yeah, it did sell out. Master P was there. Thomas the Hitman Hearns. A lot of people was there. I've seen a lot of guys. The celebs was there. That it was stacked out. I think the timing, when it comes to the black community, it was that event was hosted. I think the day before rent was due the next day.
Okay.
Rent was due the next day. I remember it because I was like, "Woo, going to Toledo? I got bills." Rent was due the next day.
Yeah, but them Toledo fans, man, they ride or die for some Rob.
Oh yeah, they do. It just they do come out. I remember when he fought Danny on Danny Jacobs' undercard, when Danny fought what's his name, Sergio Mora. You would have thought that was the main event. He fought Richard Comey, and when all the crowd, everybody thought that was in Ohio. They said, "Oh, that fight was in Ohio." No, it was not.
Yeah. I know like 3 people that they bought buses to go to New York.
Oh yeah, they thought that fight. They thought it was in Ohio, and it's still today. Some people still think he fought in Ohio against Richard Comey, and it wasn't. And the seats was empty when Danny came to the ring. It was crazy to see that.
You didn't see the post fights in the park in the street after the match in Toledo?
Which one?
Man, there was a few fights in the street. I was like, woo,
no,
man.
No, I came there with a couple of females, man. We had a couple of females. My boys was treating out, man. So we got them up out of there, man. You know what I'm saying? We came there on some date stuff. You know what I'm saying? Getting them out.
That's what's up. I've been trying to get my old lady to one, but she be tripping.
Oh yeah, I was impressing the little chicks. They ain't never had nothing. Oh, this you a baller. Hey.
I can get these tickets.
You ain't never said VIP? No.
Boy, you off the chain.
Hey, you winning already.
Yeah, shoot.
But yeah, we ain't seen no fights in the streets or nothing like that.
They got 2 black bars. One right across the street from the venue is called Our Brothers.
Yeah, okay. Robert just opened up a bar down there too.
I was supposed to go there too.
Scotty,
I was supposed to go there that night.
Did you see that little report that came out where Robert Easter punched a woman and knocked her out unconscious? Did you see that?
Yeah, I tell you what. Out of everybody I talked to, people that was there, people that saw the tape, he didn't even do it.
Didn't do what?
He didn't hit her.
She spit on him or something.
Yeah, she spit on, but somebody else got her.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah, because the chick is a stripper. She I forget what the strip club is called, but he don't even go to that one. I'll tell you offline where he be going, where he be hanging out. But I ain't gonna say it on so everybody know. But anyways,
inbox me.
Yeah, she a stripper, and she was following him around and shit like that. And all my homegirls, some of them strippers too. And they was like, nah, that bitch wasn't even worth it. Like, she was raggedy. And I guess, he told her no again or leave me alone or something. She spit on him. and somebody else got her. It was a female that knocked her ass out.
Dang.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
That's coming from 6 different people.
Okay.
Like 2 of them wasn't there, and the other ones say they was there.
Okay, I got you. Because I was getting, people was hitting me up. Like, I was saying, man, I don't live in Toledo. I know how to run boxing, but I don't run gossip. I don't know all that stuff.
Yeah, I saw him, but I'm not gonna walk up to that man and ask that man about some shit about that. I just said what's up out of my head and walked off.
Yeah, Robert East's a cool cat. Every time I see him, man, he one of the coolest you'll run into.
Oh yeah.
His reputation is amazing. That's why I said when you got guys like that who got good reputations, you question that stuff when you hear it in the press and stuff. Oh, he did this. Like, no, that's not. He's not known for that. I mean, when Broner around him, Broner is in check because they don't. Broner, he don't follow Broner. Broner, you know what I'm saying? Like, Broner be doing some bonehead stuff, but he don't do that when he around Robert.
Correct.
Nah, Rob be by himself most of the time.
Yeah, Rob ain't going.
He be by himself, chilling, and basically like the whole city just basically take care of him. Like wherever bars he go to, you know, he already know people, you know, either fans or, you know, they there to help him out.
Yeah.
Like he ain't got to hit nobody. Somebody else will do it for him. I tell you that much.
Yep, he a cool cat. Every time I've seen him in Baltimore, Texas, Atlanta. I mean, yeah, he don't be following what Broner doing, but everybody swore up and down he was. That was the shameful part about it. Not at all.
No, not at all, man. He's level headed. He's one of the strong ones in Ohio, man. When it comes to reputation and kids looking up to, he's one of them for darn sure.
Yeah, his bar is nice though. I went in there days later, but it's nice.
I'm gonna have to definitely check that out. I'm gonna check.
Yeah, it's nice. It's one of the coolest. It's a cool spot for, especially in Toledo, because you know it ain't like Cincinnati or Cleveland, Akron, or nothing like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but as far as like a black establishment like out here, there's a few good ones as well, but his is right up there.
Let me ask y'all a question before I get off, man. Tony Harrison, do you think it'll be going backwards if Lubin fought Tony Harrison right now at 154? Would that be going backwards for Lubin?
Nah, I don't think so. I don't think so, because this is the way I put it. Like, some of these guys are just tough guys to fight. And Tony Harrison is one of them tough guys to fight. You know what I'm saying? And something like right on there with Gary. And a lot of people don't want to fight these dudes. And the fights that you can get, that person is looking to whoop you to get somewhere. So he got to take somebody. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But it's probably gonna be one of these fights that he got to show people that he's falling off or something like that just to get another fight. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because these cats, they ain't gonna fight you unless they see some vulnerabilities. You know what I'm saying? Like, Tony Harrison, I mean, you got to give it to him. The dude is a good boxer. You know, he's a good boxer. You know, he just got, you know, Charlo just caught him slipping.
And I said that. He was actually winning that fight. I actually said that. I said he was winning that fight.
It was a hard one. It was a hard one to judge, man. It was a hard one to judge.
Really?
But yeah, for me, because, you know, you got to take the defense and the offense standpoints of it. Then who really does have the ring generalship, and then, you know, the effective punches, and then the accumulation of punches. You know, that's really why it was a tough one for me.
Jamel didn't want a rematch. I could tell you that much. Okay. Hey, just like I said, he was okay. Hey, I knocked him out. It's over with. I don't want to. I'm like, you don't think he did enough to deserve a rematch?
I mean, talk to Al.
And you see that fight never happen again. When you know they in really tough fights and then you never see them fight again, they know it. I mean, Danny Garcia, Mauricio Herrera, controversy win.
But to me, Charlo should never lost that first fight.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
I got you.
I don't think he should never won that first, but that second fight, yeah. I think if Tony would have gave it a little bit more, You know what I'm saying? I think they would have gave it to him if he would never got caught.
Right.
He caught him. I think the ref could have let him fight off a little bit more. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But those were some nice shots. But you know, when you see him try to stand up and shit, you don't see his eyes twirling. You don't see. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I think he could have let him. I think he could have, you know, gave him an 8 count or something like that. Just, you know, and I think that's what a lot of these refs need to start doing. And start giving people 8 counts, man, when they on the ropes like that, man, and you know, give them a chance. Damn.
Right. You know, you're right. And I think with Tony Harrison, you got to give him credit too for being able to hype up a fight that was free on TV. Oh my God, man. You got to give him the credit for being able to hype that. I was excited to know that I'm watching this on Fox and I didn't have to pay. Man, come on.
Yeah, and them Charlos, they ain't that witty. And I thought it was, I knew in my head, I was like, this dude better not try to talk shit with his stuttering ass. I was like, please, like, just let the man talk. Jesus Christ. And he just, Tony Harrison tore his ass up.
Yep, he did. He got him, man. Tony, he known for that. He had Willie Nelson just wanting to fight. Willie couldn't match him when it came.
Oh, I remember that. I remember that. He should have walked up to him and slapped him. No, I mean, I hope none of these fighters do that because you know the first thing they're gonna do is sue. I mean, let's keep it real.
Zab
you know,
did it. I think Zab he actually punched the guy really at the press conference and the fight got canceled. I don't think they got sued, but that was one of Zab's later career fights.
Zab said that he took the steroid just to cut somebody off and beat him up.
Huh?
Yeah, in the Vlad interview, Zab basically said Zab basically said he had a lot of fights, like at fight venues, like off the books. He said he went down the staircase to find a guy, and he found him and whooped on him.
Man, I might have to watch that.
Yeah, Zab. Remember when the hip hop videos on VHS used to be big?
Yeah.
And the DVDs? Yeah, remember Zab beat the dude over a dice game?
I don't remember that.
Yeah, Zab, ran the dude, whooped on the dude. Dude tried to run. They ran him down, whooped on him. Yeah, he tried to run off with the money on the dice game in Florida. They was on the sidewalk in Florida shooting dice, and a dude come up and try to skim off some money. Yeah, wow. Zab was pretty much known for fighting on the streets. You know, none of these guys now, because I seriously think, some of these dudes are sued. You know, if Wilder was to go up to Charlo and slap him, I'm telling you, he's suing.
Fact.
I seriously think he is sued because they ain't shit he can do about it. What are you gonna do?
Mm-hmm.
He already talking about guns. What do you know? You know what he talking. Yeah. Oh yeah. Touch me and I sue.
Touch me and I sue you. He's like knocked out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but sure, I'm about to get off, guys. Man, you know it's good talking to y'all. Y'all know where to find me.
Yeah, me too, man. I gotta. Oh, all right. I'm gonna find you on Twitter.
Marks and Facebook, Marcus and all.
I'm gonna find you on Twitter or YouTube. I probably already sub to you.
I got a Twitter. I got a Twitter. Yeah, I got a Twitter, but I don't even be on that bad boy. That's probably been about 6 months. I'm gonna get on. I'm gonna need to start tweeting too, man. I ain't been on Twitter all like that, but I'm about to get on there.
Yeah, Twitter man. Twitter, man, that shit hectic, man. You say one thing, a whole group of weirdos pop up.
Oh man.
Hey, I appreciate y'all for pulling up, though, man.
Oh, no problem. No problem. World Combat Sports anytime. Yeah, I got to go too, Scotty. I got to clean up for my old lady get here.
Yeah, we all about to bounce, man. Appreciate you pulling up, Mike. You know, any final words you got for anybody who supports you out there, man?
Oh, nah, man. Just support, World Combat Sports. I mean, you got the amateur video coverage for you, professional video coverage for you, man. There ain't no need why you shouldn't subscribe. So go and hit that like button and subscribe to my boy and share some of them videos with them kids he's out there trying to promote to the world, the whole world, so they can get somewhere.
Yeah, man, I totally appreciate it, my brother. Always pulling up, showing support for WCS, man. And everyone in the live chat, man, appreciate y'all. Salute to y'all for pulling up today, man. You know what it is. Till next time, I'm out.